Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has Hokage level chakra in chunin exams. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by WineLickingPasta and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Naruto never planned on dying. He had recently been crowned Hokage, he had Hinata by his side and his son and daughter. Life was good, but for some reason it couldn't stay that way. He was bleeding heavily, he had lost all feelings in his left side and his vision was blurring. He could feel Hinata gently squeezing his left hand, whispering soothing words as he saw Sakura approaching, probably ready to try and heal him. Naruto smiled. He looked at Hinata, filling his heart with joy and sadness. "Hinata," he said. She nodded carefully as she stopped her whispering. "Take care of Boruto and him, worry for me the village, make sure that someone good will take care of it for me. Please act in my place until the council finds someone suitable as Hokage." Kit. A voice interrupted. Naruto blinked and found himself inside his mindscape, looking at the great nine tails. "Kurama, if you didn't notice, I'm busy dying," Naruto said. Kurama snorted. "Like you should die here. I know that you are meant for more, Naruto, now please, let me do my thing," Kurama said and waved with his tails. Naruto nodded and Kurama's eyes closed in concentration. "I need you to weave some hand signs. There are many, but you can't not lose focus and make a mistake." Naruto looked at him puzzled. "What are you going to do?" he asked. Kurama grinned slightly. "I have to send you back somewhere, I need you to take one of your best memories and focus on it, do not waver," Kurama explained. "Hurry, you're losing chakra quickly, we must do it now." Naruto nodded. "Hinata. I love you, I will always love you," he said as he hugged Hinata closely before he started making hand signs as Kurama guided him along the way. "Naruto. What are you doing?" Hinata asked. Naruto gave her a grin. "I'm going to defy fate again, believe it," Naruto said and closed his eyes in concentration. Kurama suddenly blasted a huge amount of chakra into the system, the amount straining Naruto's chakra network, even though he already had much more chakra than your average jonin, perhaps even Kage. Naruto screamed in pain as his seal flared and started tearing apart, forcefully trying to remove Kurama. "Kurama. What is happening?" Naruto shouted out loud. Hinata grabbed his hand and Sakura started pushing her healing chakra into him. "Sakura, stop. Don't heal," Naruto said, his voice much darker and more feral. Sakura withdrew her hands like they had been burned. Naruto flashed through the remaining hand signs before he felt his consciousness being ripped away. Naruto opened his eyes. Sunlight blinded him momentarily before he took in his surroundings. "What the?" Naruto said and sat up. He was currently in a bed, in a room that resembled his old bedroom from when he was a genin. "Kurama?" he asked out loud. No reply. Naruto groaned. His body was sore all over and he couldn't get in contact with the furry tenant of his. He looked at his nightstand, finding a pair of green goggles with the name Naruto written on a small patch on top of it. Naruto smiled. He wore them a lot before he became genin, almost all the time. He suddenly got a chill, noticing that he was still wearing his pajamas. He hurried over to the closet where he found several sets of an orange jumpsuit. "What?" Naruto said. He quickly went over to the large mirror he had beside a cupboard. He gazed over his much smaller, less muscular, 12-year-old body. "What?" he shouted. He ran a hand through his hair. Kurama had said something about going back, but Naruto hadn't really thought of a specific memory, he thought about the day he became genin momentarily before he lost consciousness, but he couldn't possibly actually be in the past. He threw off his shirt and sent chakra to the seal. A secure 8 trigram seal appeared on his stomach. Naruto groaned. He grabbed a black t-shirt and a pair of orange pants from his closet, removing the rest of his nightwear before changing. "Wait, if I went back to the day I graduated, doesn't it mean that I have to go to the academy? What time is it?" Naruto spoke out loud as he hurried into the kitchen where his clock was. "I'm gonna be late," Naruto shouted as he ran out of the apartment. He gathered chakra to his legs and found himself suddenly going at a much greater speed than what he actually meant to. He found himself at the academy, hurrying into the building. He rounded the hall as he saw his old classroom, or current, or is it old now that he is graduating? Naruto shook the thought out as he opened the door. Iruka was explaining the rules of the exam, the class being a little quiet, but not more than normal. "Naruto. How could you be late for such an important day?" Iruka shouted. Naruto cringed. He laughed nervously and ran a hand through his hair again, it really was a habit he had gathered over the years, the stress of being Hokage for nearly 6 months, actually taking a toll on him. He did love the job, but the amount of paperwork and bratty genins was a little much at times. "I'm sorry Iruka-sensei, I didn't feel so well today," Naruto said sheepishly. Iruka looked at him carefully. "Well, you don't seem too ill now, go sit down." Naruto spotted Ino and Sakura sitting at the row with Sasuke. Had he been there early he probably would have sit next to Sasuke only to be knocked over by Sakura if he remembered correctly. He saw a free spot next to Shikamaru and walked over. "Yo. Shikamaru, can I sit here?" Naruto asked. Shikamaru shrugged before he went back to his laziness. Naruto sat down and looked at Iruka. The man that was currently lecturing had grown a little old by the time Naruto became Hokage. Sure, he was a young man now, but when Naruto became Hokage and Naruto himself was 32, Iruka was already in his 40s. While it wasn't that old, it still was some visible wrinkles that Naruto could occasionally mock, as long as it wasn't too much. The graduation exam is an exam on one of the 3 academy jutsu, this year being the clone jutsu. Naruto groaned. He looked at his desk quietly. Could he pass if he used a shadow clone, would they notice? He had to pass at least, he had to become Hokage again. Naruto sensed someone staring at him. He looked around quickly before he met a pair of pale eyes. Hinata. Naruto blushed slightly, as did Hinata as she noticed that he looked back at her. She turned red instantly and turned back to the blackboard. "I will go into the room next door, another chunin will call your name when it is your turn. I'll be in there with Mizuki to receive you." Naruto's eyes darkened. Mizuki, a traitor by heart. He was currently after the forbidden scroll to gain power, he later joined Orochimaru too. Naruto looked out the window. He had to find a way to contact Kurama. Naruto spotted Sasuke sitting in front of him. This Sasuke was brooding, thinking about his revenge. Not the Sasuke Naruto knew, who had a daughter with a pinket sitting next to him. Sakura, she was still a fangirl, with no medicational experience or strength. All this one had was book smarts, which really didn't help during the wave mission. The only time she started blooming was during the Chunin exam, but even then she wasn't exactly strong. Naruto sighed. What was he going to do? He came on Sasuke's team because he failed the exam, but passed because of Iruka's judgment later that day after the scroll incident, but if Naruto failed, he wouldn't show his abilities and still keep the idiot Naruto facade. Which he really didn't like, he was Hokage after all, not some measly genin. "Uzumaki Naruto." A voice called out. Naruto snapped out of his thoughts and stood up. He nodded at the chunin and followed the woman out of the room. Iruka and Mizuki was seated behind a desk, papers in their hands and a serious expression across their faces. "Naruto, perform the clone technique," Iruka said. Naruto nodded slowly. He lifted his hands into the familiar hand sign. Pouring chakra into the jutsu. "Bunshin no jutsu," Naruto exclaimed. His chakra exploded and 10 overcooked clones lied on the floor. "Well, that's just unfair." Naruto deadpanned. Iruka looked at Naruto who examined the clones carefully. "Naruto, I can't pass this." Blue eyes met dark ones. "But sensei, it's the jutsu." Naruto started. Iruka stopped him with a hand. "The other students could make at least 3 properly functioning clones, you might have made 10, but they won't do any use in the field." Naruto looked at the clones. He really had to fix the academy when he become Hokage again. First of all, the students' chakra should be measured every year and jutsu appropriate for their level should be taught. Naruto at this age had the chakra of a high chunin to low jonin level, but he kept the chakra from the future, hence the 10 clones. This meant that he had to do a jutsu meant for actual academy level students with cage level chakra with nearly no control of it because his body literally can't handle it. Naruto dispelled the clones. He started to walk out the door before he muttered out loud. Like anyone uses the clone jutsu when in the field. He shut the door behind him before walking out of the academy. He saw Hinata on the way out and smiled to her. She tried to smile, or at least Naruto thought it was a try, but she instantly turned red and hurried down the hall. Cute. Naruto found his favorite swing under the one tree in front of the academy. Many students had met up with their parents, showing off their headbands. Naruto gave a laugh. 9 out of these actually became genin. Naruto spotted Iruka standing alongside a man with a familiar hat. "Jiji," Naruto whispered out loud. He hadn't seen the Hokage in nearly 20 years, yet the memories of him was so vivid. Naruto wanted to run over and give the old man a hug, but before he even managed to stand up, he noticed his white-haired teacher. "Naruto," Mizuki said. Naruto looked up at the teacher. "Mizuki-sensei?" he asked. "Come with me for a little." Naruto nodded. He followed the teacher to his apartment's roof, where the two sat down while watching the sun slowly setting. "Iruka didn't pass you because he doesn't like you, he really wants you to be a great ninja at your full potential," Mizuki said with a small smile. Naruto frowned. "The academy should deal with students better," he muttered. Mizuki raised an eyebrow. Naruto looked up at him. "You know, I really wanted to pass. I know I will be the greatest. I probably already am," Naruto exclaimed, mentally laughing. "I guess I have no choice," Mizuki said. "There is a cabin right outside the walls of Konoha in the forest, at the west side. You get there after walking for 20 minutes. Your task is to sneak into the Hokage's office, take a scroll called the Forbidden Scroll. It is a second exam for some more advanced students. You have to learn a jutsu from that scroll, and when I come pick you up you can show it to me and you pass. Mizuki explained. Naruto nodded. I'll do it and finish in no time. Naruto shouted and ran towards the Hokage tower. Naruto easily snuck into the office to the third Hokage. He knew how the security worked and how to bypass all security seals. He looked up and saw the third himself looking at him with a puzzled expression. Naruto? He asked. Tears almost formed in Naruto's eyes as his figure grandfather stood before him alive again. Jiji, I failed the exam. Naruto said. Naruto looked as the third's expression softened, the usual comforting atmosphere the man had spreading onto him. Naruto, you will be a great ninja one day, perhaps this day just wasn't it? The third said. Naruto looked at the floor. He could tell the third about his current condition. He could prove it, hell, he might be able to help Sasuke before the bastard gets his brother killed. Sasuke awakened the Mangekyo after Itachi died, but there might be other ways to bypass it. It is emotional trauma of someone you love, it is just the matter of where, when and how to stage it. Itachi and Sasuke could switch eyes which would give them both the eternal Mangekyo. Sasuke awakened the Rinnegan after their talk with the Sage of the Sixth Paths, which probably is going to happen again, since Obito and Madara is still out there, including Zetsu. Naruto? The third asked. Naruto took a deep breath. To tell or not to tell? If he changed the future too much, would it be too unpredictable and ultimately make him lose? No, he won't lose. Perhaps some things will be different, but this is a grand opportunity to save many, perhaps everyone. Sandame Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Naruto said. The Hokage's eye widened. I know I'll probably sound a little crazy, but I want you to activate the privacy seals and send your Anbu outside the window or something. No one can hear what I am about to say. Naruto said, using the best Hokage voice his 12-year-old body could handle. Naruto? What's going on? Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked at him directly. This goes into the category of Rule 546, Part 15 Paragraph 5. The rules that the fourth Hokage created. Naruto said. Hiruzen looked at him with a shocked expression. He sent the Anbu out and activated the seals silently. Those are codes only known to the Hokages. Naruto, how do you? Hiruzen started. Naruto took a deep breath again. First of all, you should be aware of that I know my status as a Jinchuriki, who my parents are and a lot more. Naruto said. Hiruzen's eyes tealed. From when? He asked. For me, mentally, 20 years ago. Naruto said. Hiruzen chuckled. This is a good prank, Naruto, but please refrain from joking when using such serious measures. Hiruzen said. Naruto shook his head. I learned it from my academy instructor Mizuki, who currently believes I'm stealing the Forbidden Scroll for a false graduation exam. I learned about the Kyuubi under familiar circumstances when I was 12 years old, when I also learned the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto said. What? Naruto, what is going on? I'm not following. Mizuki is a traitor. You were 12 20 years ago. Hiruzen asked. I nearly died, Jiji. This morning. The Kyuubi taught me a jutsu that sent me back in time, I think. Naruto said. He chuckled slightly. The Kyuubi? Are you perhaps under his influence? Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked him straight in the eyes. Do you doubt my father's sealing abilities? I think you would trust your successor more than that. Naruto deadpanned. So you do know who your father is? Hiruzen said. Naruto nodded. Jiji, for me, 6 months ago I took the mantle as the 7th Hokage. I know everything about the village. Even the truth about the Uchiha incident, the Kyuubi attack, Orochimaru, Danzo, Madara and even more shit that's going to happen in the future. Naruto said. Hiruzen looked at him with wide eyes. Naruto, this is very hard to believe, but there are things you are saying that must be the truth, or else the security in our village would be less than I hoped. Hiruzen said and found his pipe, lighting it and taking a deep drag. Gigi, I need to pass, I must watch over Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. And why is that? He asked. Naruto frowned at him. Sasuke is thirsty for revenge, he will not stop before he gets it, I think. I have the power to stop him anytime and at any place. I want to save Itachi too, because shit is going to happen the next 5 years that no one will like, and the best place to start fixing is that breedy 12-year-old arrogant asshole we call Sasuke. Naruto said. Hiruzen chuckled, but his expression soon hardened. You say many things are going to happen, should I know? Naruto's eyes widened this time. Wait, you accept it just like that? He asked. Hiruzen huffed. Naruto, I have lived through wars, seen your father raise former Shijin into one of the greatest Hokage ever been, I have seen countless of weird jutsu and techniques, you have one of the greatest demons inside your gut, time travel doesn't really seem quite impossible. He said. Naruto grinned. Thanks Gigi, but hey, can I just borrow the scroll and kick Mizuki's ass back here? I need reasons to know about the Kyuubi and Kage Bunshin. Naruto said. Hiruzen shook his head. What? Why not? Naruto asked. First, your reason can be me, I owe it to you as for how I have failed you during your childhood and about your heritage, if you hadn't already known, you would have found out about the Kyuubi today, which I personally think is far too early. If someone asks, you have trained with me and talked with me. Second, you can go kick Mizuki's ass anyway, I hope you know how to sense and find. Hiruzen asked. Naruto grinned. I can much more than sense, but I really think it won't be necessary. By the way, you should call Jiraiya. I need the toad summoning contract and there is the entire Rasengan ordeal. Naruto said as he teleported out of the office. Minato, I hope you're watching your son. He truly is great. Hiruzen smiled. Naruto went to one of the highest places in the middle of Konoha, he sat down and gathered the natural energy flowing through everything and everyone. He entered Sage mode after getting that perfect balance you need unless you want to turn into a frog or have no effect. Naruto found Mizuki heading to the cabin he talked about earlier and sped after him. On the way he created a clone to use Henge and transform into the Forbidden Scroll, after all, he had to lure Mizuki in. It took him a good 10 minutes to reach the cabin from his previous position, his ears a little cold from the night wind. Naruto looked around before Mizuki made his entrance. Naruto, good. You're here, now hand over the scroll. Naruto stood up, smiling. Did I pass sensei? He asked as he delivered the clone to Mizuki. The white-haired man started to laugh. Like a demon could ever become a ninja. Mizuki sneered. It's better if you just die right here. Mizuki unsheathted one of his Fuma shuriken. Naruto rolled his eyes. Oh, you mean your lack of wits actually can't see the difference between the scroll and the kunai? Naruto said. Shut up, demon. Mizuki shouted before a wicked smile grew on his face. You know why the villagers hate you, Naruto? Because 12 years ago the fourth sealed the nine-tailed fox into a boy, making him the demon incarnate. You are that boy, you are the Kyuubi. Mizuki said. Naruto snorted. Yeah, I'm a Jinchuriki, but no demon. You, on the other hand, is a traitor. Trying to steal the scroll. Good thing the third is always watching. I'm bringing you in. Naruto said. He ran towards the teacher before Mizuki could react. Naruto kicked a hard uppercut up Mizuki's chin and continued with some hard jabs to the chest and stomach. Kage Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto shouted and 10 clones formed around him. They went into a flurry of kicks and punches, working as a well-oiled war machine. Naruto formed a Rasengan in his hand, much bigger than what he could when he was this age before, after all, with so much chakra he had to use more to gain the same level of control. Rasengan. Naruto shouted as he slammed the sphere into Mizuki, the teacher getting knocked out immediately. Naruto sighed. I didn't even get tired. He said as he picked up Mizuki's body and teleported back to the Hokage's office. Gigi. Naruto said as he arrived in the office. Hiruzen looked at him with wide eyes. You're done? He asked. Naruto scoffed. Like you didn't watch in that crystal of yours. He said. Hiruzen smiled. I'm still surprised. I'll call for the it, I want you to have something. The third said as he found 4 scrolls. These scrolls are your heritage, I wanted to give them to you when you either came of age or became a trusty chunin, but since you are far above 18 mentally, I can make an exception. The first scroll is the money that belonged to your father and mother. Minato was Hokage, so there's quite the deal in there when you add Kushina's savings. This scroll is the contract for the Namikaze mansion, where your parents lived. This one is all their belongings, like pictures, books, clothings. The last one here is your father's notes and studies. I want you to take good care of all of them. Naruto nodded at the old man as he accepted the scrolls. There is also this, Hiruzen picked up a headband with a blue cloth. Congratulations on graduating, Nanadame. Hiruzen teased. Though, for me you are a genin. I want you to go through the ranks like a usual ninja. You might have been Hokage in your time, but you are not now. That is how it stays until you are officially coronated again. Hiruzen continued. Gigi. Thank you so much, but I really hope you put me with Sasuke so I can watch him. Hiruzen nodded. Yes, is there anything more? Naruto looked down for a second. Haruno Sakura and Hada Kakashi. They were my team back in the days, Team 7, I want that team back. I know how to improve and work with them. Kakashi was also my father's student, so I guess he might want to spend a little time with me, hopefully. Naruto chuckled. Hiruzen nodded. I thought about putting you and Sasuke with him anyway, Sakura will probably be a good addition if you recommend her. Go and sleep now Naruto, tomorrow you have to meet up here 4 o'clock to take your ninja ID picture. The team elections are the day after that, so be well rested. Good night. Good night, Gigi. Naruto smiled as he flashed back to his apartment again. A.N. Hokage Fire Shadow, a military leader of Konoha, the Hidden Leaf Village. Chakra, the energy flowing through everything and everyone, ninja use it to do jutsu. Jutsu techniques that are almost like superpowers, creating clones, illusions, fireballs, energy balls, lightning, water, wind, earth and controls of mind, shadow, body parts etc. Bunshin no Jutsu clone technique. Gigi old man, Naruto's nickname for the third Hokage. Inchuriki human sacrifice. Kyuubi ninetails. Duuma shuriken windmill shuriken. Page Bunshin no Jutsu shadow clone technique. If you're wondering about anything else, just Google it. Naruto was sitting on his bed looking out the window. He was trying to plan what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. First of all, he would have to check the limits of this young body compared to his chakra levels and find out how he would help Sasuke and Sakura grow without turning them into evil followers. Currently, both of them hated him or disliked him at the very least. Naruto laid back down on the bed. What if he changed the future enough that he wouldn't get the ideal ending? What if Hinata died because of some stupid thing? Perhaps the chunin exam? No, Naruto can't think like that. He shook his head. I should probably get some training. Naruto muttered as he heaved himself of the bed, grabbing one of his black shirts and sweatpants. Naruto jogged to training ground 7, he trained there nearly all the time in the previous timeline and he wasn't about to stop now. What about Hinata? She isn't the same as she was when she and Naruto got married or had kids. By then she had grown and become one of the best ninja in the village. Right now, she was a shy girl who wants to be recognized. Naruto sighed. He wanted his Hinata. His wife. His everything, but she had to take care of Himawari and Boruto, even if he did find a way to bring her back here. Naruto looked at the ground. Could he even love her? This wasn't his wife, this was a completely different person. She would never be the same if Naruto stopped the war before it began, or if he didn't let her sister get kidnapped by Toneri. Naruto shook his head. He would have to think about the now and not the love life he might have. Naruto started to stretch out, feeling his muscles start to work. He started with physical exercise. This meant as many push-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups on any surface he could manage. Mostly on water, if he managed to control, on trees, if he managed to control or just on the plain old ground. Naruto switched back and forth through the exercises until his stamina finally started to catch up with him, even his endless supplies wasn't used to such sudden training. Naruto smiled as his body started to grow sore. He sat up by a tree and started meditating. Nothing was more calming than gathering nature chakra and meditating in sage mode. You could feel everything. The birds, the humans, the squirrels. You could sense the trees and flowers, feel the flow of chakra run through absolutely everything. Naruto looked at the sky, the sun warming every inch of his body. Didn't he have something to do today? Sure, he would have to check his chakra supplies and how many of his jutsu he could do. He could at least enter sage mode, do the Kage Bunshin, the Rasengan, Shunshin and Hiraishin. Naruto tried entering his mindscape again, but still being shut out by the seal which was stronger than ever. He sighed and stood up slowly. What was it he had to train, talk to the third, take a picture, train, check out his family's scrolls, find the estate, buy new clothes and equipment. What was the time? Naruto looked at a clock he had brought with him for safety. 3:45, well at least he wasn't that late. Panic spread through him suddenly. Training ground 7, while relatively close to the village, was still on the opposite side of the Hokage tower and he had to pass through the gate so he wouldn't alarm the barrier. Shit. Naruto muttered as he started running. This could also be counted as training, so it wasn't a total waste. He sped up, using chakra to enhance his speed, and due to his horrible control, he used far more and went way too fast compared to what speed he wanted to go at. He arrived at the gate soon after, stopping momentarily to let the eternal Chunin, guards at the gate, Izumo and Katetsu, look and check him in. Naruto waved at them before he continued to speed towards the Hokage tower. He dodged, gently pushed, jumped over, slid under, jumping up at the wall, anything he had to keep up the speed, while he ran through the bustling streets of Konoha. He got to the tower around 5 minutes to 4, looking at the receptionist carefully. The woman behind the desk gave him a glare, but paid him no attention. Naruto looked down. He had forgotten by the looks and whispers he got when he was smaller. He knew of the pain of loneliness, of course. No one just forget that. He looked at her carefully, before giving her a smile. He hurried to the third's office. He knocked and waited until he got the come-in from the old man. Opening the door and bowing the moment he stepped in gave the photograph stationed in the room a little shock. He knew who Naruto was, he also knew that the blonde had zero to non-social skills, he was rude and pulled pranks all the time. Naruto sat down on a stool centered in front of a plain wall. He gave a small smile as the photographer took the picture. The process of getting the picture on his ninja registration form took around 5 minutes. Hiruzen looked over it approvingly before he put down the paper. Naruto, where is your forehead protector? Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked up to see his bangs firmly hanging closely over his eyes. I forgot, it's been 6 months since I thought about such things. Naruto said lamely. He forgot that the photographer was still in the room and laughed nervously. Hiruzen nodded. It's fine, just wear it tomorrow at least. He said as he took a drag from his pipe. The door into the office opened suddenly, a small figure dashed into the room. Before Hiruzen or the photographer noticed anything, Naruto was standing, holding a small child by his shirt firmly. He noticed who the child was suddenly. Konohamaru. He said out loud. The child stiffened before he started to struggle against his grip. Lem go. The child said and tried to bite Naruto's hand. Another person followed in through the door. Honorable grandson, where have you been? He asked. Ibisu then noticed Naruto holding said grandson and glared shortly before Hiruzen gave a disapproving look towards the special jonin. Ha, so now that you know who I am, you won't hurt me? Konohamaru said. Naruto looked at the kid. No way I care about that. He said and dropped Konohamaru. The smaller boy fell to the floor with a thump but stood up immediately. I just have more important actually. Naruto looked at Konohamaru. He knew that he had treated Boruto like this when he was Hokage. Shaking off his son because of important matters. I just have something against hitting weaklings. Naruto said with a smile. Konohamaru huffed. I'm not weak. I'm going to be Hokage. He shouted. Naruto gave a snort. I bet you can't even beat that teacher of yours. He said. Konohamaru turned to Ibisu. Hell yeah I can. He shouted and ran at the teacher. Ibisu, taken aback by the sudden turn of events, suddenly found the third Hokage's grandson wildly punching after him. Honorable grandson, you must not listen to people like him. I will teach you the best way to become Hokage, so follow me now. Ibisu said. Konohamaru ignored him. Naruto looked at Hiruzen. The Hokage nodded and Naruto teleported out of the room. Konohamaru didn't stop hunting Ibisu though, but the man was looking at the spot Naruto stood with a slightly shocked expression. Naruto arrived at his apartment. He found his forehead protector at the nightstand and looked at it fondly. Next to it was the 4 scrolls the third had given him yesterday. He took up the one with the money sealed inside. Hi. He said as the scroll glowed, recognizing his chakra. A note and several scrolls appeared. Naruto grabbed the note and started to read. Naruto went wide-eyed. This was more money than he imagined, the amount of ramen he could buy with this. Naruto shook his head. He had to be careful with this, first of all, he should buy himself some new clothes and ninja equipment. Naruto grabbed the scroll with his parents' belongings and unsealed that one too. 3 different scrolls appear, all having different labels. One of them read Kushina, another read Minato and the third read Common. Naruto unsealed Kushina's scroll. Clothing, pictures of her and her team, her family members and Jonin in uniform with a forehead protector Naruto thought he would never see. It was like a normal forehead protector, but the cloth was black and a signature Uzumaki swirl was etched on the metal plate. This is from Yuzugakure Naruto muttered. He grinned, he had to add this to his new outfit. He put the forehead protector next to his Konoha one and continued to look through his mother's belongings. He found a blue scarf he recognized from around when he was 18. His mother had knitted this for him. Naruto smiled and put it to the side. The rest of Kushina's stuff was mainly cookbooks, notes, some novels, history books about Yuzu which Naruto also was going to read later and a hair clip. He put the pictures to the side, wanting to have something to fill his apartment. Naruto resealed the belongings he didn't want to keep at easy access and put the scroll to the side, moving on to his father's belongings. He unsealed the scroll. The first thing Naruto noticed was the folded white fabric which took up most of the place. He grabbed it and watched it unfurl as it reached a longer length than his total height. He noticed the red flames etching the bottom immediately and turned to coat to stare at the familiar writing. 4th Hokage. Naruto grinned. The original, his father's coat. The most noticeable thing to his father other than his spiky blonde hair. Naruto knew that the coat was way too big for him and folded it again. He had to take care of that, he also had his own coat that suited him much better. There were also a standard Jonin uniform located in the pile of things, also a book that Naruto knew well. Jiraiya's first novel, The Gutsy Ninja. Naruto took the book and added it to his pile of the things he wanted to keep unsealed. He also found the recipe for the 3-pronged kunai, which he had to take to the weapon shop later. There were also several history books here, some novels and romans. Lots of plain clothing and pictures of his old team with Jiraiya, his students and several of himself and Kushina. Naruto smiled fondly, he put all the pictures to the side along with his mother's. He resealed the clothing and boring history books before moving on to the 3rd scroll. He unsealed it and just a few things appeared. It was an album and a box. Naruto opened the album, finding several pictures from his parents' childhood and teens to adult life and the time right before he was born. Naruto smiled fondly and put the album away. He opened the little box, finding 4 rings laying inside. 2 made of silver and the other 2 a shiny gold. Naruto laughed, tears forming slightly in his eyes. engagement and wedding rings. Of course. Naruto said. He closed the box again and sealed it back into the scroll, adding a second layer of security seals to make sure that it wouldn't get stolen or lost. He sealed the resealed scrolls back into the slightly larger scroll and put it next to the scroll with all the money. He found the one with his father's studies. Unsealing it revealed another scroll with more seals written on it. It took Naruto a great 10 minutes of his life to come into the actual contents. A ninja's jutsu was the greatest secret, the reason many ninja was burnt on the spot when they died. Minato knew this and was extra careful. There was several blood seals, chakra recognition seals which was toned to family security, several hidden seals with booby traps and the alike. Inside was several notes on the Hiraishin and the Rasengan, how Minato created and perfected them. Well, he didn't create the Hiraishin, but he really did make it a lot more better. It also had the recipe for the sealing tags used as beacons for the Hiraishin, which would make Naruto's life much easier. There was also notes on different seals and battle fit Fuinjutsu. Naruto made sure that he took time to read them later. Minato's own training regime was also written down. It consisted of jogging in the morning, training with team, then physical exercises, dinner and then chakra control, and working with jutsu. Simple really, but it was effective. Naruto resealed the notes, better be safe than sorry. He grabbed the recipes for the Hiraishin kunai and tags, also bringing with him a quite good amount of money. He had to go shopping. Naruto headed to the weapons store first, after all, making equipment took time, and he also needed new kunai and shuriken sets, also new explosive tags and Fuuma shurikens. He entered the shop quickly, hoping to get it done before the day was over. It was already 5 o'clock after all. "Welcome, is there something I can help you with?" a voice asked. Naruto turned to the counter where a man in his 40s stood proudly behind the desk. "Yes, I want to custom order something," Naruto said. He walked over to the counter and put the recipes on the table. "I want both of these mass-produced for me only and the tag stuck firmly onto the kunai," Naruto said. The man studied the kunai carefully. "This is the fourth kunai, I'm not sure about the tags, but I can get it produced, it will take a while." "How many are you looking for?" he asked. Naruto thought about it for a moment. "If you could make this occasionally so I can restock on it several times I can pay you more than the actual price, after all, I might use them and wouldn't like to be stuck without any weapons while on a mission. I'll buy some normal kunai first so you can create a large set to begin with," Naruto said. The man nodded. He started writing down the order. Naruto went and picked up several kunai and shuriken sets, in addition to some explosive tags, and put them on the counter. The man nodded. "That would be 150,000 ryo," the man said. Naruto put the money on the counter. That hadn't even scratched the surface of his now bottomless wallet, but then again, ninja equipment was pretty cheap. "The first set will be done in around a week, being double the size of a normal set to keep you going. You will gain a new set every second week, hope to see you again," the man said. Naruto nodded. "You sure will." Naruto headed out. Now for the ninja armory and clothing shop. Naruto hurried down the street, finding the shop pretty easily. He entered and noticed a few other people being inside. Some of them paid him no attention, others gave him the look or muttered something under their breath. Naruto hurried over to the clothing section, looking for a new style. He got several pairs of black ninja pants, shorts and shirts. He took with him a sleeveless orange hoodie to wear when he had time off. He then went to the armory section. He chose an orange hoodie with black stripes at the edge of the sleeves, similar to the one he wore as Hokage, but as a hoodie, after all, he had just recently got that outfit and it was just unfair if he couldn't choose something similar. He was fond of thought after all. He also brought more black ninja pants. He got several sets of black ninja sandals and some dark orange ninja pouches to attach to his leg. He went to the counter with the clothing. The woman behind the counter looked at him with annoyance. Naruto sighed. "I have the money, now let me buy my stuff and I'll be no longer your concern," he said. The woman looked considering for a moment before she finally brought her hand forward since the entire desk was occupied by clothes. "That would be 20,000 ryo," she said. Naruto gave her the money and after she had bagged them he left. The sun was setting and Naruto walked calmly down the street. The entire day had been a rush and he couldn't wait to get home. "Honorable grandson, come back," a voice shouted from behind Naruto as Konohamaru sped past him. "No way, I won't be taught by you anymore," he shouted. Naruto looked at the ordeal since Ibisu quickly caught up to Konohamaru, having the kid struggle against his grip. Naruto took the bags and put them on the ground, leaving his hands free. Naruto created a shadow clone and it picked up the clothes and weapons. "Take that home," he said. The clone nodded and walked away. Naruto walked over to Ibisu and Konohamaru. "Ibisu, you shouldn't force the honorable grandson to do anything now, should you?" Naruto smirked. Ibisu let go of Konohamaru's hand. "It's you," he said. He gave a disapproving look to Naruto. How can you think of learning that Brad anything if you can't even notice the difference between a scroll and a kunai? The trash in the trash can. The classroom and the students. Naruto asked. Ibisu looked at him strangely. Are the students the classroom? Naruto asked Konohamaru. The boy shook his head. Are the trash and the trash can one and the same? He asked again. Konohamaru looked at him. No. He answered. If you seal a kunai inside a scroll, does the scroll become a kunai? He asked both of them. No. They replied at the same time. Then how come I am what is sealed inside of me? Naruto asked Ibisu. The man looked down. I have to consult with a third about certain matters soon, I guess it would be nice if I refrained from mentioning this to him. Naruto said. Ibisu nodded. Konohamaru. Naruto smiled. If you want some training tips I would be happy to give them to you, but first you must think about what it means to be Hokage and what it means to you. He said before he teleported back home. Perhaps I should have trained with Konohamaru today instead. No, it'll be better if he tries a lit on his own. I'll train with him during the next days. Naruto said as he started sorting his clothes into the closet. I guess I can go eat some ramen then. Naruto said and started heading out again. Naruto was currently putting on his newly bought clothes. He wore black ninja pants and sandals with his orange hoodie. His dark orange ninja pouch was located on his right thigh filled with some of his new kunai and shurikens. On his forehead was his trusty forehead protector of Konoha, while on his left side by his hip was the forehead protector from Yuzugakure. Naruto looked at himself in the mirror, content with the outcome. He did miss his white cape though, he missed his life in general, but now he was here and he had to do the best he could with it. Naruto looked at the clock. He had to meet in the academy in about half an hour, that was enough time to walk instead of running down the streets again. The blonde chuckled as he walked out the door and locked it after him. Walking down the street in Konoha early in the morning is one of the most relaxing things Naruto has ever done. You get to watch the stores upon, the sun rising and this calm silence that would fill the village. When Naruto became Hokage, he would usually stress enough to forget about it, but when he first managed a day off, he would walk around and just watch the village he loved so much awaken. He got to the academy at a reasonable time, there were still another 10 minutes left before the orientation meeting started. Naruto walked into the classroom where many of the genins wannabe were bustling with energy. Oi, Naruto. Didn't you fail, what are you doing here? Shikamaru asked. Naruto looked at him. Can't you see this amazing forehead protector? I am the best in this class after all. Naruto said. Shikamaru sighed. Yeah okay, I don't care. He said as he sank back down onto the desk. Naruto laughed. This is one of the smartest people in Konoha and here he is, thinking that this is more troublesome than anything. Naruto found Sasuke in the row in front of Shikamaru, lacking any Sakura or Ino, but Hinata also had a free spot. Naruto looked between the two several times before he moved over to Hinata. He was going to be on the same team as Sasuke, but Hinata, he wouldn't see her as much. Hey Hinata. Can I sit here? Naruto asked, flashing a smile. Hinata made little noise, but nodded quickly. Great. Naruto said as he sat down next to her. He stole occasional glances, she was always so pretty. Her cute short hair and beautiful pale eyes. Naruto's 32-year-old mind held much control over him. So Hinata, what are your expectations? Naruto asked. Hinata looked at him nervously. I believe that we will all become great ninja. She said. Naruto smiled. I know you'll be great, you're probably the best female in our class. Naruto said as he smiled even wider. Thank you, but I don't think so, she whispered back. Naruto looked down. Hinata. I'm training in the late afternoon nearly every day unless something important comes up. Do you want to join me? We can be super strong together. Naruto exclaimed. Hinata looked at him, blushing a lot to say at least. I would have to ask my father, but I would really like that, and Naruto. She said. Naruto gave her a thumbs up. Great. We can talk to each other tomorrow, I'll find you don't worry. Naruto said as Iruka came in. Alright everyone, settle down. Iruka called out. The class found their seats and actually stayed silent for once. We're going to sort you into teams of 3, assigned to a jonin who will guide you. Iruka lifted a paper up from his desk. Naruto stared out the window as Iruka started to call out the different teams. He knew that only Team 7, 8 and 10 survived the genin test. The rest of them failed in one way or another. Team 7, Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. A loud squeal was heard, interrupting Iruka. And Uzumaki Naruto. A sudden bang to the desk was followed by the name, courtesy of Sakura of course. Your Jonin sensei will be Hada Kakashi. Iruka finished. Naruto looked at Hinata. I could have exchanged Sakura with you. He muttered. Teammate will be Aburam Shino, Hyuga Hinata and Inuzuka Kiba. Your Jonin sensei will be Uhi Kurenai. Iruka said. The genin to be in question looked at each other with small smiles. Team 9 is still active, Team 10 will be Akimichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. Your Jonin sensei will be Sarutobi Asuma. Haruka finished. It didn't take long before some of the Jonin sensei came and picked up their team, but as always, Kakashi was later than every single one of them. Haruka even left the classroom as he had to go to another meeting. Naruto looked at his teammates. So do any of you think of an area you want to specialize in? Naruto asked. Sasuke gave no reply, but Sakura was suddenly shouting. Why should I listen to you, idiot? Sakura shrieked. Naruto looked at her. Sakura, we're going to be on the same team and we're going into a world where people die. If you want to create bad bonds with your team and cause imbalance, it will surely make us fail. If you don't want a wake-up call by me, then you can wait until you get in a real life and death situation. Naruto said. It was a little rude, yes, but he did really love Sakura as a sister. As Hokage he knew what risks posed on any missions, and he was not going to let Sakura get herself hurt. What do you know, Naruto? Sakura retorted. Naruto laughed. I have trained a lot for a long time. There has been ups and downs, but you should know what kind of occupation you are choosing and not just follow that duckbit over there. Sasuke gave him a glare at the comment. Sakura looked down. I know what I'm choosing. She said. Naruto smiled. I'm not saying this to be mean, Sakura. Naruto said. I just don't want to watch you get hurt if something happens. Sakura scoffed. Like I am the one getting hurt, you didn't even pass the exam. She said. Actually, I did graduate, so I guess I passed. Naruto smirked. Sakura froze for a second. How did you pass actually? She asked. At this Sasuke had turned his attention to the two. Oh you know, I just found a test a little closer to my level. Naruto replied. Sakura snorted. Of course, they had to dumb it down for you. She said. Naruto looked away. He had forgotten how much Sakura looked down at him at this time. He knew she was a fangirl and not really strong, but the relationship between them had gotten much better after the wave mission. Believe what you want Sakura, I'm going to meditate. Naruto said as he sat down with his back to them. He started gathering nature chakra again. Really, the feeling of being one with everything and everyone was very calming. Naruto really wanted to help Sakura and Sasuke, but he had forgotten how uncooperating and unbalanced they were. He sensed Kakashi walking towards the academy, who probably had been wasting time around somewhere. Naruto chuckled. Kakashi nearly got Sasuke disqualified from the chunin exam because of his tardiness, it was kind of sad. Naruto let the nature chakra run out of his system, it would be a little hard to explain to Kakashi. Naruto turned around and walked towards the others. Sensei is coming. Naruto said. Sakura looked at him puzzled and Sasuke turned slightly. Just at the right time, Kakashi opened the door to the classroom. You're late. Sakura shouted. Naruto huffed and Sasuke just turned away. Kakashi studied them. Meet me at the roof in 3 minutes. Kakashi said before he used the body flicker to disappear in a swirl of leaves. Naruto nodded before he waved at his squad mates and followed his teacher with the same technique. Naruto arrived at the roof, finding Kakashi leaning against the railing. Yo. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said. Kakashi turned. You're quick. Kakashi said. Naruto shrugged. I'm just that awesome. Naruto replied. So, what do you think about this team sensei? Naruto asked. Kakashi looked at him. For now, I see nothing much. You then? Kakashi asked. Naruto looked up for a second. Sakura has potential, she has the control and capability to become a great medic, hell she would probably become a new Tsunade. Naruto said. Kakashi had an amused expression. What about Sasuke? He asked. Sasuke needs work, he has the raw talent and mind, but is too arrogant and doesn't care for those close to him, or at least those who try to get close to him. He is power hungry and drowning in revenge. Unless someone can get him off that path, he will probably do something drastic. I believe that Sasuke has amazing potential, hell he can be the strongest ninja ever, but his personality is holding him back. Naruto said. Kakashi's eyes widened. Naruto's personality was easily described by many, dumb, prankster, clumsy and no skill whatsoever. This Naruto saw pros and cons about his team, thinking how to help them without even knowing them. Kakashi stared at him before he went back to his I don't care look. What about you then? Kakashi asked. Naruto chuckled. I have way too big chakra reserves for my body, but I am starting to get the hang of it. My biggest flaw in personality would be that I won't ever give up on my friends, even if they tried to kill me. Naruto said. Kakashi looked at him. Before the older man could reply, the two others from their squad came through the door, Sakura being a little tired from all the stairs. Well then, now that we have all gathered, why don't we introduce ourselves? Kakashi said and motioned for them to sit down. The three genin Hoppaful sat down at the little steps before the railing. Sensei. What should we say? We already know each other, so why don't you start? Sakura said. Naruto smirked. Even with him changing much of what had happened already, some things stayed the same. Kakashi gave an eye smile. My name is Hada Kakashi, I have many likes and many dislikes, my hobbies are none of your concern. I have no dream. He clapped his hands. Say something like that. The silver-haired man replied. He pointed at Naruto. You start. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I like training, ramen, Konoha, my team and my family members. I dislike traitors and those who treat their friends like scum. My hobbies are gardening, training and reading. My dream is to be the best Hokage ever and carry on the will of fire. Naruto grinned. Kakashi looked at him fondly. He really was his parent's son. Naruto, you're an orphan, how can you like your family members? Sakura asked. Naruto flashed another smile. My family might not be alive, but I love my parents anyway, and my family isn't necessarily by blood. Naruto replied. Kakashi looked at him. So you know. He stated. Naruto nodded. Okay then, Pinky, you go. Kakashi said. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like, or the one I like is she glances at Sasuke before blushing. My hobbies are she smiled and blushed even more. My dream is she squealed loudly. I hate Naruto and Ino Pig. She shouted out. Kakashi nodded slowly. Next, Breedy over there. He said. My name is Uchiha Sasuke, I have no likes and many dislikes. My hobbies are nothing but training. My dream, no, ambition is to kill a certain someone. He said darkly. Naruto rolled his eyes. He really needed to do something about Sasuke, but what? It was like it was with Hinata, this wasn't his Sasuke, and pulling the one from his timeline to here would just be cruel. He had a daughter and wife to take care of after all, not that Sakura really needed taking care of then. Okay, tomorrow we'll meet at 7 o'clock for a survival exercise. Don't eat breakfast or you will throw up. Kakashi said as he waved his hand. He once again simply disappeared with a body flicker. Sakura, Sasuke. Naruto started. His two teammates had already started to leave. Guys. He shouted after them. Shut up, Naruto. Sakura said. Naruto huffed. Well, if you want to fail that test then it's fine. I'll do well with another team too, but Sasuke, you'll be held down, and Sakura you probably won't be working with Sasuke again. Naruto said. The two stopped. What do you mean, dope? Sasuke asked. Naruto rolled his eyes. The Genin test, we'll fail if this is how we act. Naruto said. Sakura looked at him. We're already Genin. She said. Naruto shook his head. We passed the academy, but we must get approved by Kakashi-sensei too, he can send us back to the academy. This test has a 66% fail rate. Naruto said. Sasuke looked at him. How do you know this? He asked. Naruto smiled. I guess you could know, but then again, you guys hate me, don't care about me, and wouldn't care if I had a major change at all. Not that you would notice. Naruto said. He was feeling slightly irritated, but then again, Sakura and Sasuke were kids. 12-year-olds, about to step into a world where it is kill or be killed for many. I'm sorry, but I have to go talk to the third. Naruto said. He walked past them. Naruto, what is your business with the Hokage? Sakura asked. Naruto stopped. I'm just wondering if perhaps my family should be more known and if perhaps I should let Kakashi a little bit more in on my condition. Naruto said. Sakura looked at him, a slight look of worry was on her face momentarily. Are you ill or something? She asked. Naruto grinned. No. Naruto walked away from his teammates. He headed to the Hokage tower. He knew that the third kept his heritage a secret so he would be liked as him and not as some important figure or end up like Konohamaru, forever in someone's shadow. Naruto also knew that it was to protect him from his parents' enemies. He saw the tower come closer and closer as he moved forwards. Having that in mind, Naruto also wanted to be able to tell his teammates everything about him. He wanted the villagers to see him as Uzumaki Naruto, but not just the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. He wanted the night of the Kyuubi attack to actually be explained and not covered up. Well, perhaps the villagers might glorify his ass if they knew he was the son of Minato, but it was no secret for the shinobi side. Kakashi knew it, Shikaku probably knows, hell even Shikamaru might know. The only thing that kept the villagers from seeing was the shadow of Kyuubi which was hovering over Naruto. He felt no shame of being the Jinchuriki and of course he felt no shame in being the fourth Hokage's kid. He was stronger than Minato, having surpassed him a long time ago, but he was still a little unsure. If the villagers liked him because he was Minato's son, would he lose his name? Would he turn out to be like Konohamaru, forever expected and just the fourth son? Naruto passed the receptionist, keeping her no mind as he walked up to Hirazen's office. He knocked 3 times before the command sounded through the door. Naruto opened the door, giving a small bow to the old man. Naruto, how was your day? Hirazen asked. Naruto sighed. Sakura and Sasuke are even worse than I remember. I am here for another reason though. Naruto replied. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Oh? He asked. I was wondering, when are we going to announce my heritage? I waited to go to my parents' estate because if I just wandered to the fourth's old house, someone would ask questions. Also, I recently bought several sets of the three-pronged kunai because it is a part of my fighting style, but just having those outside the gates will raise questions in the other villages. Though I do want to have a name for myself, I really am not used to being so secretive. Not anymore at least. Naruto said. Hiruzen frowned as he took a drag from his pipe. Perhaps the chunin exam. If you manage to prove yourself, showing off, setting that rumor about your powers. At the final part of the exam, at the complete end, when we announce the winner, which I'm betting on is going to be you, Naruto chuckled. I can announce you as Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. It will bring you even more attention and you will already be quite known throughout several villages as the exam is broadcasted. Naruto nodded. I can hold out until then. Then for the other reason I'm here. Kakashi, I think we should let him in on this. Naruto woke up around 9, knowing that Kakashi would be late for the survival test. He found his clothes and went into the bathroom, taking a quick shower. After he was done he went to the kitchen, finding some of the instant ramen he had an endless supply on in his apartment. Naruto's mind wandered over to his parents' estate. He never knew about it since his father had rigged it with several seals to hide its location when no one was there, but it also explained why it wasn't in the files when Naruto took over as Hokage. The third had apparently taken care of Naruto's heritage himself, keeping it safe from the normal files that could be stolen or destroyed by enemy ninja. Naruto had no access to these things, and they were also hidden well by the Hokage too, since they didn't find these scrolls when Konohamaru looked through his stuff. Naruto waited for 3 minutes until his ramen was properly cooked. He ate it in silence as he thought about his next move. Yesterday he had been quite harsh with Sakura. Sasuke of course probably wouldn't mind anything Naruto said for now, but he knew that the girl was quite emotional. The bell test, he knew the purpose and how to pass, but he also had to show teamwork between him, Sasuke and Sakura. If he alone showed ability to cooperate, it probably wouldn't be enough. Naruto could always try and get an apprenticeship from Jiraiya when he came to town, leaving him to more private training if all should fail. But he did not want that. He wanted to be Team 7 again. He wanted his friends, his second family. Knowing them wasn't enough, the thought of losing them more unbearable. He sighed loudly. He had to get through to them and soon. Naruto finished his ramen and looked around. His room really needed cleaning. Creating 3 shadow clones he got them to work. Starting gathering the dirty laundry his 12-year-old self had left around. The empty ramen cup scattered on the floor also had to go. He headed out to training ground 7 to do his morning training. It was around 2 hours until Kakashi got there anyway. He started jogging with some chakra enhanced speed, finally getting enough control after lots of meditating yesterday to keep it down a notch. He arrived at the training ground a good 5 minutes later, being a little out of breath. He enjoyed the silence until suddenly. "Naruto, you're late," Sakura shouted. Naruto groaned loudly. He had forgotten that Sakura and Sasuke would already be here. "Kakashi-sensei isn't here, so no, I'm not late," Naruto stated. He noticed Sasuke sitting underneath a tree a couple of meters away. "Kakashi-sensei said be here at 9, the clock is already 10. Sakura complained. She looked over to Sasuke. "Right, Sasuke-kun," she chirped. Sasuke just went with the Uchiha trademark phrase, HN. Naruto chuckled. "Kakashi-sensei isn't going to be here in a while, so why don't we just train until he gets here?" Naruto proposed. Sakura looked at him for a second, a quizzling look on her face. "Hey Naruto, I didn't notice before now, but what is that forehead protector on your hip?" she asked. Naruto's eyes wandered to the forehead protector from Yuzu. "Oh, this? It's my mother's." Sakura's eyebrow twitched. "You don't have any parents," she said. Naruto rolled his eyes. "Sakura, I told you this yesterday, I have parents, even though they aren't alive." Sakura blushed once again. That makes sense," she said. "But what is it? I haven't seen that mark before," she continued. Naruto lifted the headband slightly. "I'm sure you have noticed the mark behind the Jonin vest?" he asked. She nodded. Naruto showed her his left shoulder, where the Uzumaki mark along with a little jewel like the one he had on his orange jumpsuit decorated it. "That is the mark of the Uzumaki clan, the leading clan of Uzushi Okagure in the land of whirlpools. The clan is nearly extinct after the village's destruction. Those who survived scattered across the world. My mother came to Konoha for some other reason. She was related to the first Hokage's wife after all. I think she was my mother's great aunt or something like that. Anyways, mom died during the Kyuubi attack, saving me and the rest of the village," Naruto explained. Sakura looked at him like he grew a third head. "How do you know all this? Just until the Genin exam you didn't show any sign of being anything than a brainless idiot," she exclaimed. Naruto tilted his head. I have always understood many things, but I'm not good with books or sitting still. Also, the only reason I didn't manage those low-level academy techniques is because I probably have more chakra than our entire class put together," Naruto said. Sasuke suddenly appeared beside the two. "You said you wanted to train, let's have a spar. I know you failed the test, but I wonder what kind of special test you did," he said. Naruto smirked. "I'll hold back then. I don't want to hurt you," he said as he held up 2 fingers. Sasuke made the same movement and Sakura jumped out of the way. "Sakura, please call the match when one of us is knocked down or you believe they are too injured to battle," Naruto said. "You ready, Sasuke?" he asked. Sasuke nodded. "As I'll ever be." Sakura held her arm up before she shakily swung it down to symbolize the beginning of the match. Sasuke sped at Naruto, cocking his fist back. Naruto's eyes narrowed. He crouched slightly, and when Sasuke's fist came towards him he moved slightly to the side, allowing Sasuke's fist to glide right by him. He grabbed the extended arm and pulled Sasuke further back, using the other boy's speed to make him unbalanced. Sasuke growled as he tumbled to the ground. Naruto smiled at him. "Aren't you going to fight, Sasuke?" he asked. Sasuke jumped to his legs again, going for a roundhouse kick. Naruto used his left arm to stop the foot and again grabbed the leg. Sasuke then used Naruto as an anchor to twist his body, using his opposite hand to slam down on Naruto's head. Naruto used the leg he was holding to pull Sasuke to the ground. Sasuke's fist hit him in the shoulder, quite hard for a 12-year-old, but not hard for Naruto. Naruto channeled chakra to his finger, flicking Sasuke's forehead in the split second he was on the ground. Sasuke flew off by the amount of strength, not as pure as Tsunade's, but when it was chakra enhanced it wasn't that far off. Sasuke crashed into a tree, groaning as he slid down to the ground. "Sasuke-kun." Sakura screamed as she ran towards the boy. She immediately checked his body around for any serious wounds. "Naruto, how could you?" she asked. Naruto shrugged. "I tried to tone it down, but he was boring me." Naruto looked at the ground. His spars with Sasuke in his timeline was always filled with adrenaline, every fight from his timeline had some kind of excitement. When he fought Shikamaru he always had to keep his surroundings because the lazy Jonin always made some super clever traps. Fighting Sakura was plain scary, Hinata was speed and agility, with Kiba he had to watch out for multiple opponents. Shino had his bugs to suck out his chakra, so he always had to make sure not to waste any and try and go to jutsu only. When he fought Tenten he worked hard with his wind-style jutsu. With Chaoji it was a real battle of strength, the chubby man being a real brute. Battling Ino wasn't as fun, as she couldn't really use her speciality ninjutsu with him because of Kurama. The only thing that was hard against her was her clever use of genjutsu and traps. Fighting Lee, well he had the no ninjutsu restriction with him, but battling that Jonin had earned him many losses and many wins. He nearly had the same rivalry with Lee as Kakashi had with Guy, it was a little scary. Naruto went over to Sasuke, looking over his body quickly. "He's just a little knocked out from the impact, he has no broken bones or the alike. He'll be fine by the time Kakashi-sensei gets here. Hopefully, this spar has made him understand that he isn't the strongest one out there." Sakura sighed, relieved that her crush was fine. "Well then, why don't we discuss a strategy against Kakashi-sensei arrives?" Naruto proposed. Sakura looked at him before her eyes wandered back to Sasuke. "Shouldn't we wait for Sasuke-kun?" she asked. "He's unconscious, he can't say anything. He won't wake up until Kakashi-sensei gets here and then it will be too late," Naruto said. Sakura looked conflicted, holding Sasuke's hand even though she probably knew he wouldn't like it. "Sakura. You need to start thinking about your own career and not just follow Sasuke," Naruto stated. The pink-haired girl looked up. "I know what I'm getting into if you're referring to yesterday," she said bitterly. Naruto shook his head. "I'm talking about speciality. I'm a ninjutsu and fuinjutsu specialist, meaning that I mainly only use them when I battle. Having something like that makes it easier for the Hokage to make perfect teams to certain missions," Naruto explained. Sakura nodded in understanding. "From what I know about you, you haven't got that much chakra but near perfect control over it. This is good, you can work your chakra up slowly but surely so you won't lose control. I was born with huge amounts of chakra so I have nearly none control, although it is much better now than when I started," Naruto said. Sakura huffed in slight embarrassment. "Using your control though, you can become a great medic with training. We have nearly none medical ninja that actually are battlefit, those we have are starting to get out of shape. Perhaps if Tsunade came back, you could train under her." Naruto winked. Sakura looked at him with wide eyes. "Why are you helping me? I have never even looked your way before now," Sakura said. Naruto smiled. "I know what you can achieve if you really want to try," Naruto said. He sat down next to Sakura. "Kakashi-sensei has never passed a team before," he said. "What?" Sakura asked. Naruto grinned. He apparently has some impossible test, but if I remember correctly both the fourth and the third Hokage has done the bell test, since the third taught Jiraiya, who taught the fourth, who taught Kakashi, I believe that is what we're facing. Naruto said. Sakura nodded in agreement. I see your point. She said. The bell test is a teamwork test, my biggest doubt about this was that you and Sasuke would abandon me completely, you just following Sasuke and Sasuke doing his arrogant thing. Naruto sighed. I think the best strategy is allow Sasuke to do his thing and use his boldness as a distraction. Sakura said. Naruto stared at her. Why you actually Naruto? I might not be physically strong, but I'm smart. After listening to you yesterday, it really got me thinking. Seeing you fight Sasuke today and hearing your words, I really want to believe that I can be strong and that we can help Sasuke, after all he has that entire kill a man complex. She said, stars in her eyes. Naruto looked down. That man is his brother, Uchiha Itachi, who murdered the entire Uchiha clan. Naruto said. Sakura suddenly lost color in her face. His brother? Why would Sasuke's brother do that? She asked. Naruto stared into nothing. I'm not sure, but I know that Itachi was a splendid ninja, I think he could rival Kakashi-sensei, and he is one of Konoha's best ninja. Naruto muttered. I think that there's something underneath that incident and I want to find out what and do that before Sasuke kills Itachi. Naruto finished. Sakura nodded. Then we'll do that. She smiled. We find out what happened and if this Itachi really was a bad man, we'll help Sasuke, but if he's a good man, we'll help him too. Sakura said. Naruto smiled. I agree. So, I can send a clone to run straight at Kakashi-sensei, using that to an advantage all three of us will hide, Sasuke would do that anyway. After my clone is gone, we'll wait until Sasuke try and fight Kakashi. You lay traps around the area and I'll be Sasuke's backup. Naruto smiled. I can work together with Sasuke even if he doesn't want to. Sakura nodded. We better get ready then, I hope Kakashi-sensei comes soon, I'm hungry. Naruto froze. You didn't eat? Naruto asked. Sakura shook her head. He said not to, remember? She said. Sakura, he advised us not to eat in case we would throw up, but that was a play. Without energy from breakfast, the most important meal of the day, it will be much easier to dispatch us. Naruto said. He found a scroll hidden under his jacket. He opened it and unsealed the content. From the scroll came a backpack which had several other scrolls stuffed into it. Naruto searched through the bag. There. He said. He unsealed a scroll and several nutrient bars appeared. Take 2, eat 1 now and save 1 for later. We don't want you to collapse. Naruto said. Sakura picked up 2 bars and unwrapped one, eating it quickly. After the two discussed minor strategy plans and counterattacks, Kakashi finally arrived at the training ground. Hello everyone. Might someone explain what happened to Sasuke? Kakashi asked. Naruto laughed. We had a spar around 2 hours ago, I flicked him a little too hard. Naruto said. He flicked his finger to show the movement. Kakashi looked at him. You flicked him. He stated. Naruto nodded slowly. Yes, I just said that sensei, pay attention. Naruto said. Sasuke stirred, slowly opening his eyes. And he is alive. Naruto exclaimed and reached a hand to Sasuke. The other boy shoved the hand away before standing up quickly. I don't need your help, loser. Naruto groaned. Sakura looked between the two of them, doubting what to say or who to support. Kakashi just smiled as he dragged out 2 bells. Naruto winked at Sakura. Okay, so from now until this timer goes, he showed a little clock. You guys will try to take these 2 bells from me. The one who doesn't get a bell gets sent back to the academy. Kakashi said. But, we can't get sent back to the academy. Sakura said. Kakashi looked at them. If I don't pass you, then yes you can. He said. Naruto just shrugged. Sasuke looked fairly annoyed. Okay then, start. Kakashi said. The 3 genin disappeared into the forest, hiding from their sensei. Naruto looked around. There is no way we can hide from a jonin, or the others can't, I'll probably survive. He muttered silently. He created a clone to run out towards Kakashi, shouting out to him that they would have to fight fair and square. Naruto smiled at it, Boruto usually acted like this sometimes. It was a lot like him from when he was a kid, yet Boruto wasn't the same. He didn't know true hardships, the spirit of the ninja had changed. After his clone dispatched, a huge fireball came at Kakashi. There he is. Naruto said and jumped forwards. He stayed hidden in the foliage of a tree while he watched Sasuke fight Kakashi, who was reading in his favorite orange book. Naruto sped down, using Sasuke's crouching position as a boost to send a kick at Kakashi's chin. The jonin blocked skillfully and tried to grab Naruto's foot, but he withdrew his leg quickly, having perfect control over his body in midair. Naruto created a clone to drag him out of the way as Kakashi tried to follow up with a kick. Using Naruto as a distraction, Sasuke sent a fireball straight at the two of them. Both Naruto and Kakashi used a substitution technique to get away. Kakashi frowned. "That's no way to treat a teammate, Sasuke," he said, but Sasuke ignored him. He went to Kakashi again, but this time Naruto got into the crossfire. He worked well around Sasuke, even if Sasuke tried to avoid him. Naruto created 3 clones to surround Kakashi, using them to hold the sensei down, even if just for a little while. "Sasuke, get away and let my clones handle him a little, use your strongest fireball from afar," Naruto shouted. Sasuke's eyebrow twitched. "I can handle him on my own," he shouted. Naruto groaned. "Just do it," he shouted, and the clones started to take over Sasuke's match with Kakashi. Sasuke soon jumped back, and even though he didn't do it because of Naruto, he created a huge fireball and sent it Kakashi's way. "Wind style, great breakthrough," Naruto shouted as he sent a wave of wind into Sasuke's fireball, fueling the fire into a giant inferno. Kakashi's eyes widened when the clone stuck onto his legs. He noticed a large block of wood further away and replaced himself with it. "Predictable, sensei," Sakura said as Kakashi noticed a large wooden log came crashing down. He jumped away quickly, but Naruto was waiting. He channeled chakra to his feet to create a burst of speed, sending him off like a rocket towards Kakashi. His hand reached for the bells. Seconds felt like years as Naruto got closer and closer, but Kakashi knew something was going to happen. He grabbed Naruto's arm, flinging him away. He saw the blonde make a hand sign with his other hand, but nothing happened. Naruto crashed into a tree, but the blonde was soon standing, if a little wobbly. Naruto smiled. "Sasuke. Now." Sasuke sent a barrage of shuriken at Kakashi. Kakashi whipped out a kunai and blocked the shuriken. "Sakura," Naruto shouted. Sakura ran towards Kakashi, followed by Naruto formed the opposite side. The two both got grabbed by Kakashi and lifted into the air. Now, don't be too violent," Kakashi joked. Naruto grinned as a poof of smoke appeared. Kakashi threw the genin away, jumping out of the clouds soon after. Sasuke was panting, but still standing. Naruto was smiling broadly and Sakura was on her knees, half laughing and half using all her breath up to get oxygen sufficient enough for the amount of energy she used. The timer ringed, sounding through the moment of silence in the training ground. "Well then, time's up," Kakashi said. "That means you sensei," Naruto interrupted. He lifted 2 bells up. Kakashi looked from Naruto to the bells on his hip. "Good try Naruto, but you would have to actually remove my bells for a trick like that." To a small poof interrupted Kakashi, showing that there was no bells at all. "What?" Kakashi asked. Naruto grinned. "When you held me and Sakura, I used a clone to create a distraction so I could grab the bells. It also bought Sakura the time to cast a minor class area genjutsu on your hip to make you believe that the bells were still there. Sasuke was excellent due to the fact that he made you stand still, giving me and Sakura enough time to get close to you," Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. He felt a little embarrassed due to the fact that he didn't catch such a minor genjutsu, but he had to hand it to the kids. "Well then Naruto, who are you going to give the second bell to? You get to choose which one to send to the academy as you have both the bells," Kakashi said. Naruto shook his head. He threw a bell to Sakura and the other to Sasuke. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. "Do you want to go back to the academy?" Kakashi asked. Naruto looked at him. "Of course not, but I'd never abandon one of my friends, not for anything," Naruto proclaimed as he looked at Kakashi with steel eyes. Kakashi looked at him. "Well then, I guess I would just have to let you all pass," Kakashi said. Sasuke looked slightly shocked. Naruto went over to Sakura and helped her stand. She smiled slightly at him, but looked at Sasuke worriedly. "From today on, we're Team 7. Report at the bridge towards this training ground at 10 tomorrow and we'll get our first mission." Kakashi smiled. Naruto grinned. "Well, I gotta go find Hinata," he said and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. They arrived at the Hyuga compound, meeting the guard at the gate. "Hey, I'm from Hinata's class, or previous class. I need to talk to her," Naruto said. The Hyuga looked at him, knowing who he were. "I'll go see if she wants to see you. Even though I don't like it," he said and headed off in a direction Naruto assumed was Hinata's quarters. It took around 10 minutes before Hinata came running. "Naruto-kun," she said as she noticed him. I got permission to train with you." She smiled. Naruto grinned back, he loved that smile. "Great. What if we start to train in the evening? The mission office closed for genins around 6, so if I come pick you up here around 7, we can train until you need to get back home," Naruto said. Hinata nodded. "Well, I can't really today, since I really need to buy some food more appropriate. I can't live on ramen, I'll be short forever," Naruto said. Hinata laughed softly, but also blushing wildly. "Tea, that would be great," Hinata stuttered out before her eyes rolled back. Naruto caught her falling body gracefully. He picked her up bridal style, holding her closely. He carried her into the compound and some branch members smiled at him as they pointed the way to Hinata's quarters. The branch side members of the Hyuga clan wasn't really mean to Naruto, some of them disapproved of him, but many of the ninja understood what it was like to have a seal placed on them against their will and other people looking down at you for it. Naruto arrived at Hinata's room after 5 minutes of walking, he laid her softly down on the bed, brushing her hair away from her face. "Sleep now, Haim," he whispered before he went home. Naruto woke up the next morning, his heart on an unusual ease since he came to the past. Grabbing his clothes, the physically preteen made himself some nurturing breakfast after shopping the day before. After completely devouring his breakfast, he headed off to training ground 7 to do his morning training. He was going to meet up with his team later for their first mission, but it was still enough time to do his morning training. He started doing the physical workout like always, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups on any surface. His control had gotten a lot better, but he wouldn't dare try tampering with any special seals yet. He could make the ones less complicated, but right now he really needed to get that control down. Kurama had yet to speak with him, he couldn't even enter his mindscape. Naruto wasn't sure whether it was the seal itself that shut him out or the fact that Kurama had used lots of chakra to send him here and may in fact be sleeping. Naruto had really hoped to have one friend from the future with him, well he wasn't exactly alone, it still felt like he was running around with someone he didn't know. Was Kurama even there? What if it was the Kurama from the past, the one who would do anything to get out at any time? Naruto held his breath. He really wanted to have one of his best friends with him. He started running laps around the training ground, speeding up at every single thought that made him slightly miss home. He couldn't think of that future anymore, it is somewhere out there, but not here. It was in an entirely other timeline. Naruto went over to a training dummy. Practicing his taijutsu and occasionally channeling chakra to his punches. Then there was Kakashi. If Naruto wanted to change the future, starting from now, he needed space to move in. Having Kakashi's watchful eye over him would surely be a plague, especially during the wave mission. For now, the third was quite busy with his paperwork, so they had pushed the matter to another time, but during the wave mission, it was sure to come out to at least Kakashi. Both Kakashi and Naruto had lived through wars, Kakashi could probably see that on Naruto. It wasn't something that leaves you unscathed. Naruto then created 5 shadow clones, 2 who sided with him and 3 on the opposite side of the training field. Team battling, remember to use different styles. Naruto shouted. The clones nodded. Yes, boss. They replied and started sparring. Using the clones both as supports, attack and defensive partners, Naruto soon got back the memories of having to fight 3 against 3. He really hadn't done it in such a long time because when he was younger he would always run out on his own. This Naruto knew better. He knew how significant teamwork could be during a mission, sometimes the 3 teammates would have to work as one unit, not 3 separates. The Jonin was actually supposed to make that happen, but something was off with Konoha's learning system. Naruto would have to remind the third of that. Talking about the third, he died during the chunin exam final, which led to Tsunade's return. The only way to bring Tsunade back and keep the third alive was to find something so good that even Tsunade can't refuse. Jiraiya would probably coming up with something, maybe. Even worse was how Naruto was supposed to meet these people. He nearly broke down crying seeing the third, how would he react to seeing his godfather again? Tsunade was still alive when he became Hokage, but that didn't mean he didn't miss her. Naruto smashed his fist into the last clone, the others already dispatched. He let out a scream of frustration. Why was there so many things to be done? There was already tons of work being Hokage, planning exams and teams, but planning the future several years ahead, having to be careful for every step he took. Naruto hadn't been prepared for this. Why did he have to die in the first place? He had a son and a daughter, a wife, friends, precious people he needed to take care of. Naruto looked around. It was probably time to meet up with his team for their first mission. He hurried along towards the assigned meeting spot on a bridge nearby the training ground, Sasuke and Sakura already at the scene. Hey. Naruto said as he got closer to the two. Good morning Naruto. Sakura replied as she looked at Sasuke. The boy just stared down to the ground with his arms crossed. Good morning Sasuke. Naruto said as he bumped his fist into Sasuke's shoulder. Sasuke sent him a glare in response. Leaning against the railing next to his teammates, the new members of Team 7 waited for their sensei. Kakashi was late as always, but he arrived at the bridge with a happy yo. As he made them alert of his presence. He then took them with him to the Hokage Tower at the mission desk office. Haruka, Hiruzen and some other ninja and civilians Naruto didn't know was seated there. They all stood side by side as Hiruzen told them the list of available missions. Naruto and Hiruzen shared a glance, the third Hokage knew that Naruto was far above his teammate's skill level, after all he had become Hokage. The only way for Naruto to have a team closer to his level was if his teammates trained super hard or if he waited until the chunin exam, got promoted and got a new squad, but it wasn't likely. "We'll take the weeds at the farm outside, Hokage-sama," Kakashi said calmly. Hiruzen nodded and handed Kakashi the mission briefing. Naruto groaned silently as the team headed out. They arrived at the farm after 10 minutes of walking. The three genins started to pick up the weeds, careful not to pick any of the flowers around. Naruto fell back on his back, screaming in a low frustration. "Kakashi-sensei," he shouted. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at him. "Why are we wasting our time as a team doing D ranks? The Chunin exam is coming up and it's better to train on cooperating and actually exercising rather than do some silly academy chores," Naruto said. Kakashi looked at him. "I guess you do have a point, but we will have to finish this mission quickly then, so we can train later. It's still early," Kakashi said. Naruto grinned. "No problem," he said as he crossed his fingers. "Shadow clone jutsu," he exclaimed and several clones popped into existence. "Grab the weeds and hurry," Naruto ordered. The clones got to work, leaving nothing but the herbs and flowers around in the field. "Nice job, Naruto," Sakura said as she threw away the weeds in her hand. Sasuke just glared at him, walking over to the still-sitting Naruto. "Why are you so strong? Just until the Genin exam you were failing at everything. Why? I should have your power," Sasuke screamed. Naruto stood up, giving Sasuke a steel look. "You shouldn't have anything. You have trained, yes, you have your set of skills, but you are weak, Sasuke. You haven't been in a real life or death situation, you know nothing about me. Yet, you try and judge me, try and belittle me who you just assume is worse than you." Naruto looked down. "I know you have great potential, Sasuke, I want to help you with it, but I can't just give it to you," Naruto said. Sasuke glared at him. "Like you could teach me anything," he said. Naruto smirked. "Oh yeah? What about how I kicked your ass the other day?" Naruto asked. "I started training for real 7 years ago, hours and hours of work, you could barely lift your fist," Naruto said. Sasuke's glare burrowed into him, but Naruto shook it off. "Let's go back to the Hokage tower and report. I've got better things to do than this," Naruto said and started to walk towards Kakashi, who had gotten ready for a fight. Sakura looked at Sasuke longingly. "Sasuke-kun, perhaps you should try to listen to Naruto. Perhaps he shut up," Sasuke interrupted. "I don't want anything to do with that dope, he still needed to have the Genin exam dumbed down for him," Sasuke said. Naruto suddenly stood in front of Sasuke. "You know what, Sasuke? I've known you since we started to the academy. I know you want to kill your brother because he killed your family, but you're only looking at the surface of things, you always are. I couldn't perform the clone technique because where you have a pool of chakra, I have an ocean. Your levels can't compare to mine, making it impossible for me to use that little raindrop of chakra. Where you use the chakra in the size of a rock to create a clone, I have to use a grain of sand. Go and try to pick that one grain without picking up another," Naruto said before he looked at Kakashi. "I'm going ahead, sorry for my outburst," he said and used the body flicker to the Hokage tower. Naruto headed up the stairs to the third Hokage's office, where Hiruzen was currently taking his break. "Naruto, why aren't you with your team?" Hiruzen asked. Naruto sighed. "I got a little mad with Sasuke, blew up a little. They are coming soon to file the report on the successful mission," Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. "Anything I can help you with?" Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked at him. "Don't you think Sasuke should know? About the massacre? About Itachi? They were his family, if he kills Itachi like he preaches he will do and then later learns the truth, he will never trust Konoha," Naruto said. Hiruzen looked at him. "Can you guarantee that he will trust Konoha if we told him?" Hiruzen asked. Naruto shook his head. "No, but I'm positive that I can point him in the right direction. There is lots of things going on, how they all connect is simple. The Kyuubi attack, the massacre, events that will happen. I really think you should know, but knowing all the events is dangerous, but I can tell you one thing. Madara is alive, he will attack. He is behind many things, including those I mentioned," Naruto said. Hiruzen's eyes widened. "But, Madara died a long time ago. He was killed by the first Hokage," Hiruzen said. Naruto shook his head. "He lived, although barely. He's using a pawn to do his things, like extracting the Kyuubi from my mother, helping Itachi with the murder of the clan. Then there is Danzo, you should really stop him now. He isn't going to quit," Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. "I know, but I can't just arrest him. His people will get him out and I don't have any evidence that will allow me to kill him," Hiruzen said. Naruto sighed. "I figured. The Chunin exam, you have to be prepared for that, also give me the mission from Tazuna, he will be arriving in a few days. He's from the land of waves, smells of alcohol," Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. "I think your team is back, you should talk it out with Sasuke," I give you the permission to tell him about the Uchiha clan if you deem necessary, but if he runs away from Konoha, I hope you have a plan for it. Hiruzen said. Naruto smiled. Don't worry, I know exactly how it will turn out. Naruto waved and left the office, leaving a pondering Hiruzen behind. After Naruto found his team, he noticed Sakura's sad look and how Sasuke seemed like he was a volcano trying to erupt. Kakashi had probably tried to calm Sasuke down, but it didn't seem to work out. Hey guys, I was just talking to the third. Naruto said. Sakura looked at him. You're talking to him quite a lot, aren't you? She said. Naruto shrugged. I'm just that important. He said. Sasuke scoffed. Like a clanless orphan like you is anything special. Naruto's eyes widened. Did you forget? I told you like yesterday. I'm from a clan, the Uzumaki clan, but mine was also killed off. Naruto said. Sasuke tensed. He looked at Naruto with dark eyes. Don't pretend you can compare to me. He said. Naruto stared at him. Sasuke, you're just a revenge-thirsty little brat who can't look underneath, who whines about everything and has a pride equally big to the Hyugas, except Hinata, she's great. Naruto said. You know nothing about me. Sasuke said. Naruto just looked at him with a deadpan expression. You don't know anything about me either, so just stop. Naruto said. We'll go train, you guys still have lots of work to do with both your physical and mental strength. Sasuke, you should really try to use your head. Can one ninja really just kill an entire clan inside a ninja village, with guards and everything? How can the Uchiha be so elite if they can't even defeat one of their own? Naruto said. He looked at Kakashi, who was staring at him with wide eyes. Really, sensei, I should tell you something, but I don't know if I can trust you too much yet. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded slowly. Does the third yes? He knows everything. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. Then I'll trust his judgment. Kakashi said. Naruto smiled, then let's go to the training ground, I have a perfect routine. He said and hurried off, his team trailing behind him. They headed to the training ground, Sasuke still fuming with anger, but for once using his head to think. Naruto put questions in his head and he wanted them answered. The three genin lined up in front of their sensei. He smiled at them. You can train, I actually think we can start with a little chakra exercise. The three climbing. Kakashi said. Sakura looked at him strangely. Kakashi-sensei, we already know how to climb trees. She said. Naruto laughed silently, Kakashi smiling with his visible eye. You're not going to use your hands, Sakura. Like this. Kakashi said as he walked up the tree and stood upside down from a branch. Sakura looked shocked while Sasuke smirked, ready for the challenge. Kakashi threw 3 kunai in front of them. Use those to mark your progress, also, you should try with a running start. Kakashi said. Naruto walked over to the tree, simply walking up the trunk like it was the ground. He continued all the way to the top before he balanced himself there. Sensei. He shouted. I'm done. He said. Kakashi's eye widened as he saw his student on the top of the tree. That's good, Naruto, come with me, I'll take you to the next exercise. Kakashi said. Naruto jumped down, landing with a thump. I'll see you at the next exercise, Sakura. He said as he winked to her. Sakura looked at him puzzled but looked at the tree with determination. Sasuke gritted his teeth as he ran up, but the bark exploded underneath him. Sakura simply slipped the first times. Naruto followed Kakashi to a nearby lake, the blonde shaking his head. Water walking? Naruto asked. Kakashi nodded. Naruto walked to the middle of the lake, grinning as he saw Kakashi's light shock. Sensei, I'm way stronger than many of my age. The only one I would probably lose to was Lee if he used his full power, or Shikamaru because of his witty traps. Naruto said. Lee? As in Guy's student? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded in affirmative. Kakashi-sensei, I know that trust is the true essence of a good team, but I cannot come true to Sasuke and Sakura. It will ruin everything, they won't look at me as me, probably. You won't either, so I really don't want to tell you the secrets I hold. It's better this way. Naruto said. Kakashi shook his head. Naruto, whatever it is, I'm sure I can handle it. I won't think of you any different. Kakashi said. Naruto looked up at him. But I know you will, sensei, because I'm not the same that I was 3 days ago. Naruto said. The third knows, and while he was more accepting than I thought, he knows I'm not Naruto who just graduated. He knows the difference between who I was and who I am, and that child you watched over as an Anbu is long gone. Naruto said. Kakashi stared at him. Naruto, what happened? Did someone hurt you? Kakashi asked. They could try, but I'm stronger than them. Perhaps one day I will tell you, but not today. I want you just to know that I'm a cage-level ninja, I can easily defeat any chunin and most jonin, with exception of perhaps you and Guy if you both went at full power. Naruto explained. Kakashi couldn't probably become any more shocked. I'm sorry sensei, but as you said, you have to trust the third's judgment. Naruto smiled. Kakashi nodded, he smiled with his lonely eye. I guess so, perhaps one day I will understand what you are talking about. He said. Naruto looked at the sky. Perhaps, what if someone else came back? Naruto and Kakashi headed back to Sakura and Sasuke to see their progress. Sakura was standing on a branch further up the tree, while Sasuke's was marked with several blast-offs and kunai marks. Naruto chuckled, he knew that while Sasuke was a better ninja than Sakura in general, he had much chakra and so little control. He was used to be able to blast anything in his opponent's way, but the only thing he did now was blast himself off a tree. Sensei, why don't we split up? You can take Sakura to the river and teach her water walking while I help Sasuke control that chakra of his. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. Sure, but no bickering. Kakashi said. Naruto grinned at him. I'm just going to help him out if he allows me to. Naruto said. Sasuke's vision darkened as he glared at Naruto. I do not need your help, dope. Sasuke said. Naruto looked at him strangely. Why was he so insistent on calling him that? He hadn't exactly failed completely at the exam. Sasuke, how many times? I know your stupid backstory, you don't have to remind me. It's almost like you're bragging about how your family died. Sasuke shouted at him. Kakashi gave Naruto a look, clearly seeing the problem leaving the two of them alone. Sakura was staring worriedly at the two of them. You think I'm happy? The atmosphere dropped several degrees, Kakashi being the only one to notice the killer intent leaking of Naruto. You think you know my story? Naruto asked. He stared at Sasuke, his eyes darkened, almost like his eyes had turned into stone. Naruto shook his head. Kakashi, I'll take Sakura. You can teach that boy how to treat comrades and see when he should back down. Perhaps even give him over to the I&T unit, see if he is mentally stable enough to be a ninja. Naruto said as he headed over to Sakura, the mood suddenly lifting again. Let's go, Sakura. Naruto smiled at her as he headed towards the river. Sakura nodded dumbly at him before following him, leaving Sasuke and Kakashi in the clearing. When Naruto and Sakura reached the river, Naruto immediately noticed Sakura's weird expression. Naruto chuckled. Sakura, what I'm going to show you is some more advanced training tips while also helping you getting started. Naruto said. Sakura looked at him strangely. What exactly? She asked. Naruto jumped onto the river, standing there silently as Sakura's eyes widened. You're going to be able to do this? Naruto said. Sakura stared. How am I supposed to do that? She asked once again. Naruto smiled. The tree exercise is about keeping a stable layer of chakra under your feet to stick, but a river is constantly moving. How would you solve it? Naruto asked. Sakura looked at the river calculating, in addition to staring at Naruto's feet every now and then. You need to reapply and adapt the chakra output to the sole of your foot, right? Sakura asked. Naruto smiled happily. Exactly, now you don't have the largest chakra pool, but I got some soldier pills if your reserves are getting dangerously low. So go ahead and try. Naruto said. Sakura took a hesitant look at the river before moving forwards. She took 1 foot ahead of her, channeling the chakra as she predicted would be enough. Sure enough, her foot stepped onto the water like it was solid ground. She smiled up at Naruto as she took another step, just a little less careful this time. She managed to walk a few more before her chakra weakened ever so slightly, making her slip through the water surface. That was great. You really are amazing. Naruto said as he helped her up from the water. Sakura smiled at him. Thank you, Naruto. She said. Naruto grinned. The two walked over to the shore again, Naruto discarded his jacket at the ground. Now, I told you I would help you with some more advanced training tips. One of them is to continue doing tree climbing and water walking exercise to build up your reserves. The second is your control. What would you think about being a medic? Naruto asked. Sakura looked at him strangely. Like a doctor? What does that have to do with my control? She asked. Naruto smiled at her once again. You have such great control over your chakra that you could do both the tree climbing and the water walking on your first try. Well, you haven't built up your reserves to efficiently use it in battle, it sure is good. A medical ninja needs extremely good control to manage it during the heat of battle. I think you would excel at it, perhaps even at the level of Tsunade Senju. Naruto said, his eyes gaining a little glint. Sakura looked like she was giving it a serious thought. There isn't many programs like that though. Tsunade was the best medic in Konoha, there really isn't anyone adept enough to fulfill an entire medical program. I know she tried to get it to work during the war, but the Hokage shot it down because of the need of every single ninja. Sakura said. Naruto's eyes widened. A medical program? She wanted it. Oh, Sakura, this is great. Naruto exclaimed. He blushed slightly at his outburst before returning to his more calm manner. Oh, okay. Anyway, the next thing I want to show you is this. Naruto took up a piece of paper. Sakura looked at him, waiting for him to explain. This is a chakra conductive paper, it helps to check your elemental affinity. If it splits in half, it's wind. If it gets wet, it's water. If it turns to dust, it's earth, if it crumples, it's lightning, and if it catches on fire, it's well, fire. Naruto said. He grabbed another piece from its pocket, handing it to Sakura. He channeled his chakra to the piece in its hand, and it split in half. I got a wind affinity, which is quite rare in Konoha. The only one with this as the first affinity is Sarutobi Asuma, the third son. Naruto said. Now, having an affinity doesn't mean you can't learn the other elements. Most jonin can at least use jutsu from 2 different ones. Kakashi-sensei can even use all of them, including the hokage. Naruto explained. Sakura nodded in understanding. She channeled chakra to the paper and it turned to dust almost immediately. Naruto grinned. Now for the complete final task. Naruto said. He headed towards a tree. He slammed his fist into the bark, several cracks appeared by the sheer strength of the punch. That is what I can do without any help, but if I channel chakra to my fist, Naruto said as he drew his fist back again, channeling chakra to it before slamming it into the tree. The entire tree was ripped out of the ground and crashed into several others. There was bits of bark everywhere. Sakura stared at him with wide eyes. Tsunade is known for being a renowned medic, but she is also known for her superhuman strength. Well, my punches are strong with chakra enchantment, she could obliterate buildings with the amount I use now. Naruto said. And you want me to do this? She asked. Naruto laughed. Not at once, I want you to continue doing the tree climbing and water walking until you can do it without a second thought. Afterwards I want you to ask Kakashi-sensei for some help with earth-type jutsu because I don't really know any. Once you're adapted all of these, I will try to help you the best I can with the chakra enchantment. Also, don't worry about the medic thing, it will happen in one way or another. Naruto said. Sakura nodded. Her eyes filled with determination. I'll do it. I can do it. She said. She looked at Naruto in an entirely new light. Thank you, Naruto. I don't know what to say. Naruto shook his head. Don't worry about it, I want to help. You're my teammate after all. I wanted to help Sasuke like this too, but he doesn't want it. Naruto said. He grinned. But if you can master some of these stuff in a month, it would be great. Naruto said as he gave her a thumbs up. Sakura sweat dropped. I think I'll go a little easy. She said. Naruto nodded. Now, go practice. We will continue this until Kakashi-sensei calls us over. Naruto said. Sakura nodded. She picked a tree and started to climb. Naruto followed her, but stopped halfway up the tree, starting to do some push-ups and the like. Sakura stared at him, but the lack of focus made her slip and fall down to the ground. Sakura, you have to concentrate. Naruto said. Sakura nodded dumbly, before continuing. Kakashi headed to the river where Sakura and Naruto had gone. Sasuke trailing behind him. The two found Sakura, panting and clearly having sweat through her shirt, running up a tree before stopping halfway, waiting a couple of seconds before heading onto a branch, walking upside down. Naruto was on the river doing some sit-ups before he noticed Kakashi and Sasuke. Yo. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto shouted. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Weren't you supposed to show Sakura water walking? He asked. Naruto jumped over to the teacher and student. I did, but she did it so quickly I helped her on a training routine instead. She'll continue doing the tree exercise until she can do it without thinking. It's mostly to build up her reserves, but hell, she caught on quick. She's been going at it for a few hours now. I can already sense that her reserves has grown. Naruto said proudly. Sasuke looked at Naruto with dark eyes. What is it, Sasuke? Naruto asked. How come you are on another exercise than me? Why can she do it? Sasuke growled out. I've known the tree climbing and water walking for years, Sakura just has so good control that this chakra control exercise is easy. You are still on tree walking because you can't do it properly. How did it go, sensei? Naruto asked, turning his attention to Kakashi. Well, Sasuke do have an adept fighting style, his control isn't that good. He made it up to the top of the tree, but only once. He's still slipping or blowing himself off. Kakashi sighed. Naruto shrugged. I figured, I too did that. He said. Sasuke, how about you? Don't talk like you're my superior. Sasuke shouted. The area became silent. Sasuke, I'm not trying to do that, I just want to help. Naruto said calmly. Sasuke gritted his teeth. I don't want your help. I'm strong. I'm an Uchiha elite. Sasuke said. Would your father say that? Naruto asked. Kakashi's eyes widened, trying to reach for Naruto before Sasuke flew at him, but alas, it was too late. Sasuke tried to punch Naruto in the face, but as his fist connected, Naruto didn't move. His face was hard as stone. He didn't even blink. Does that feel better, Sasuke? Do you feel satisfied? Have you accomplished something? Naruto asked. Sasuke, taken aback by the lack of reaction, was forced onto the ground, Naruto holding a kunai to his throat. You don't know shit about your family. You knew the image of the Uchiha, but not the inside. Itachi knew and he saw that it was wrong. Naruto said. Naruto withdrew his kunai, standing up. He reached a hand to Sasuke, but the raven had looked to the ground. You knew Itachi. You know about Itachi. You think you knew the Uchiha? Sasuke asked. You think I don't? Sasuke stared at him, his eyes burning with fury. I think that you were an 8-year-old boy who just had his family killed and thrown into a genjutsu. Naruto said. I don't think you actually tried to understand. He continued. It was to test his powers. Itachi said so. Sasuke asked. So you trust the man who killed your family? Naruto asked. Of course not. Sasuke shouted. Then why do you believe what he says? Naruto said. Sasuke seemed at loss of words. Shit on this, the moment I believe you can handle the truth, the moment I trust you, I'll tell you. If I don't and you try to kill Itachi, I will stop you. Naruto said. And if you betray Konoha, I might even kill you if it gets out of hand. He said. He looked at Kakashi. Sensei, Sakura is beat. They turned to the sleeping Pinkat by the tree she had ran on. Take her home? Naruto asked. Kakashi nodded. Well then, I guess that's it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Kakashi said. Naruto smiled as his body flickered back to his apartment. That's it. Please tell me your thought about who will come back, and if so please tell me when you think it should happen. Well, I do have a vague idea, currently standing on the several time travelers thing, I really want to know it's a good idea or not. Naruto woke up from his nap. It's been a week since he came back from the future and he could already see progress. Sakura had really blossomed under their new training routine and while Sasuke really wasn't talking to Naruto, he had at least stopped jumping at him for another fight. Kakashi had been careful around Naruto. While he knew something was going on and that it was under control, he still kept a watchful eye over the blonde. Naruto hadn't really paid attention to it, but he could feel Kakashi staring at him when they trained. He found his clothes scattered onto the floor, the training routine was taking a toll on his body too, the physical parts of his body hadn't really come traveling back with him. Shame, really. Kurama also had yet to speak with him. The giant fox was sealed shut behind the bars of his stomach, leaving Naruto to his thoughts for a long while. He hadn't really spoken to the third lately, but he guessed that it was changing now. It wasn't long until Tazuna was supposed to show up for his fall C-rank mission. Naruto smiled. Zabuza and Haku would be a sight to see, but this time they were not going to die. Naruto would make sure of that. He headed out of his apartment. He had recently gotten a new pack of tri-pronged kunai from the blacksmith, allowing Naruto to use them a little more freely than before. The only problem was getting the Flying Thunder God technique under control. Naruto could flash if you counted when he used his tailed beast mode, but it was a large difference between that and the Flying Thunder God, mainly being the chakra cost. The Flying Thunder God didn't require the same amount of chakra like the flashes Naruto used. While both did cost some good portions of it, the difference was still there. Naruto had to use pure chakra to create a road to where he was going. Look at it like a river. Naruto had to create an entire river from one point to another to flash, while the Flying Thunder God just required a here and a there. Therefore, Naruto had gotten several clones to read and understand the Flying Thunder God at a higher level, and there was lots of progress there. He could almost make seals while blindfolded, not that it was recommended. He went to the bridge where he was going to meet with his team. They were doing a couple of D ranks in the morning, training during the afternoon, and then another few D ranks later during the day. It gave the genin some money to work with and buy new training gear, mainly some special weights Kakashi had ordered. Instead of just weightening down the arms and legs, these weights put enough force on the entire body that they wouldn't destroy their muscles, but just gain strength. It also automatically adapted so that they wouldn't even notice how much stronger they got. Sasuke had finally managed to do some more advanced exercises on the water surface, but really, he spent a good day trying to learn it and another one to keep it going enough to even try sparring on water. Naruto had offered Sasuke to train with him, like give him some tips, but Sasuke had refused. He wanted to prove that he didn't need any help from the dope. Naruto chuckled. After the Chunin exam, he would be announced properly as Minato and Kushina's heir, meaning the birth of the Uzumaki Namikaze family, this time for real. Minato and Kushina's wedding and birth had been a complete secret, only the most trusted jonin in the village knew about it, including some special Anbu. While people figured that Kushina and Minato had an affair, they did not know about Naruto. It would be a nasty surprise for the villagers at least. Naruto arrived at the beach. He didn't really have to go through his morning routine that often anymore since Kakashi really wanted Naruto to learn something from him, so they had plenty of time to wear him out during the afternoon. Still, when they had days off, Naruto would still hurry up to training ground 7. Good morning Naruto. Sakura said as she spotted him. Morning Sakura, how are the weights treating you? Sakura grinned. I'm already at level 7, we've had them for just 3 days. I think that's progress. She said proudly. Naruto grinned. What about you, Sasuke? Naruto asked. HN. Sasuke said as he showed his forearm, the number 9 showing clearly at his wrist. I figured, Sakura muttered. Naruto looked at her. Sakura, Sasuke has trained longer than you have, it's a given that the weights resist him a little more. I've trained even longer than you, so my weights have gone up like crazy. Naruto said and showed his wrist, a tattoo like 25 was etched on the weight. What? Sasuke said. How did you do that? He asked. Naruto shrugged. I just told you, I've trained for so long so the weights just adapt faster. Naruto explained. Now, no fighting. Kakashi said as he suddenly appeared on the railing. I wasn't. Naruto said as he leaned against the other side of the bridge. I see you all have progressed well, let's go for our daily missions. Kakashi said as he led the team to the Hokage Tower. Naruto looked around the village. He knew that the chunin exam was coming up in a few weeks, many of these buildings would be destroyed if everything went as last time. Naruto's best option was to try and defeat Orochimaru in the Forest of Death, avoiding Sasuke getting that curse mark. He knew fighting a Sannin head-on was a risk, especially when he hadn't Kurama's chakra at his disposal. In addition, Sasuke and Sakura would be there and they might see his true powers, which was a little dangerous. The team headed up to the mission desk, the third immediately taking note of Naruto's presence. Hello, Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke. Ready for a mission? He asked. Looking directly at Naruto. What D ranks do you have available? Kakashi asked. The third gave Kakashi the list, but held a C rank scroll tightly. Naruto's eyes widened, taking a quick look at the third who nodded. Sensei. Naruto exclaimed. What about a C rank? I'm so tired of these D ranks, we need more challenge. He said, louder than usual. Kakashi's eyes went a little wide from Naruto's sudden outburst. He looked at Sasuke and Sakura. What do you two think? He asked. Sakura looked at the roof for a second. I think it's a good idea, we get to go out of the village, perhaps even fight some stupid thieves, right? She asked. Kakashi looked at Sasuke. These D ranks are a waste of my time, if a C rank can bring me closer to my goal, I'll do it. Kakashi smiled. Then it's decided, what C ranks do you have for us, Hokage-sama? He asked. The Hiruzen took up a C rank. This came in last night, a bridge builder from Wave has asked for escort back to his country. He said. We'll take that one then. Kakashi said. Naruto grinned. Bring him in. Hiruzen said to a chunin. A door was opened and the smell of alcohol filled the room. This is Tazuna. Hiruzen said. What? This brats are supposed to protect me. That little one looks like he still need diapers. Tazuna said loudly. Naruto's eyebrows furrowed. Now. These 3 are efficient genins, they'll handle some thugs by the road if that is what you mean about protection. If things get out of hand, I'm a jonin and will be able to handle it. Kakashi said. Tazuna snorted. Fine. He said. Meet at the gate in 2 hours, pack up a week of supplies. Kakashi said. The 3 genin nodded and went out the door, after bowing to the Hokage, that is. Naruto hurried to his apartment. Finding his kunais, shurikens, explosion tags, paralysis tags, poison darts, senbons, ink, brushes and several empty scrolls. He sealed them all into a small scroll before heading to the kitchen. Finding an on-the-road kettle, instant ramen, nutrient bars and some other different snacks and healthy food, he sealed them into another small scroll. He then grabbed several clothings, health equipment, a sleeping bag and a tent which he also sealed into a scroll. He sealed these 3 scrolls into a larger scroll which he strapped to his lower back sideways. He then grabbed a traveling cloak he had bought the other day and pulled it over him, you never knew if it started to rain or the like after all. He hurried off towards the Hyuga compound. He had trained with Hinata every weekend, the first mainly being chakra control exercises and some easy sparring. He and Hinata really conversed better now that Naruto wasn't an oblivious idiot, but he still felt a little wrong for being with her. This wasn't exactly his wife. He didn't know if she would ever be, that was a little scary. The Hyuga at the gate to the compound just sighed. She's with her team right now. He said to Naruto. Naruto stopped. Oh, can you give her a message from me? Naruto asked. The Hyuga shook his head. Find Ko, he's Hinata's caretaker. He said. Naruto nodded. Where can I find him? He asked. The guard pointed towards a little house next to the clan head's house. He lives there. The Hyuga said. Naruto smiled. Thank you. He said as he hurried into the compound. He went over to the small house and knocked carefully. A short-haired Hyuga opened the door. Uzumaki-san. The person asked. Ko? Naruto asked and the man nodded. I want to leave a message for Hinata. Naruto continued. Ko nodded and found some paper and a pen. What is it? Ko asked, ready to write. I'm going to leave for a C rank and probably won't be back before a week's time. So I won't be able to train with you this weekend, Naruto. Naruto said as Ko wrote it down. The Hyuga smiled. There, I'll be sure to give it to Hinata-sama the moment she returns. Have a nice trip, Uzumaki-san. Ko said. Please, call me Naruto. Naruto said as he scratched the back of his head. The honorifics is making me feel weird. He said. Ko nodded. Okay then, Naruto. Naruto and Ko said goodbye and Naruto headed towards the gate before he saw a hawk above him. That was a summoning from the third, and by the way the hawk was circling meant that it was private. Naruto used the body flicker to the Hokage tower, heading up to the third's office without giving a second glance to the receptionist. He knocked. Come in. The third's voice sounded through the door. Naruto opened the door slowly. You called, Hokage-sama. Naruto said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. What happened to Jiji? He asked with a smile. Naruto looked to the side. I guess I can call you that instead. He joked. He then looked at the Hokage. What was it you summoned me for? Naruto asked. I know you asked for this mission specifically, which means that you have some plans and that it was a key event from your future. Do you mind telling me what I should be prepared for? Hiruzen asked. First of all, if things go exactly as I wanted, you'll have 2 more ninja, an alliance and preferably me getting a bridge named after me. Naruto said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. I see, well then. Do you believe backup is necessary? Hiruzen asked. Naruto laughed. No way, I'm way more than enough for this. The only thing I'm a little worried about is Sakura and Sasuke, but I've got my clones to help them out if needed. Naruto said. Good. I'll leave it to you then. I've gotten a reply back from Jiraiya. Hiruzen said. Naruto froze momentarily. He stared at the Hokage. He's on his way back, but he won't be here for another 2 or 3 weeks. I expect him to be here during the chunin exam. Naruto interrupted. His vision steeled itself. That's too late, Hokage-sama. Naruto said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Why? Naruto, I can't prepare something if I don't know what I'm preparing for. Hiruzen sighed. Naruto looked down. I know, I'll tell you both the details when I come back. If Jiraiya doesn't make it here in a week, then I fear I might have bigger problems than I initially thought. Naruto said. Hiruzen nodded. I'll send him words, best case scenario, he does the reverse summoning. Hiruzen said. Naruto nodded. Well then, I'd rather keep Sakura company, knowing her, she's early for her mission. Naruto said as he bowed. You're dismissed. Hiruzen said as Naruto used the body flicker again out of the room. While Naruto did know Sakura had arrived early, it still took a good 3 hours before Kakashi and Tazuna arrived, Tazuna carrying a new bottle of sake. Sasuke looked especially annoyed by that fact. You shouldn't drink when traveling, Tazuna-san. Naruto said. Tazuna eyed him. Oh really? Well, brat, I do whatever I want. Tazuna growled out before taking a large drink from his bottle. Well then, let's head out. Kakashi said. Kakashi walked ahead and Tazuna trailed behind him. Unnoticed by him, the genin had made a formation. Sasuke and Sakura walked at each side of him while Naruto took up the rear. Good job guys, I'm glad you did that so calmly. Kakashi said. We already had agreed on this kind of positioning though, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura said. Even though Sasuke got annoyed that I took the rear position. Naruto said cheekily. Sasuke glared at the blonde. Now, it's good that you did it, but please don't try to make each other angry, Naruto, Sasuke. Kakashi said. Naruto just smiled and Sasuke looked away. Tazuna looked at the formation carefully. I see, but wouldn't you put the strongest of the brats in the rear? That blonde looks like he can hardly harm a bunny. Tazuna said. Naruto is easily the strongest of his age group. Kakashi said, a little proud that he had brought Naruto to even higher levels. He had already trained for 7 years when he graduated. Sakura added. Naruto blushed. Geez, guys, you shouldn't do that. I know I started earlier, but Sakura is really strong for only having trained seriously for a week. She's good and Sasuke, well I hate to admit it, knows what he's doing. Though he is a little arrogant, which is hindering his growth. Naruto said. Sasuke glared at him again. What the hell do you mean you're the strongest? Sasuke asked. Naruto looked at him. Sasuke, please. We're on a mission. No fighting. Naruto said. The raven head growled. I can beat you, just like I can beat that man. Sasuke said. Naruto sighed. Sensei, did you really check him at the it? Naruto asked. Kakashi shook his head. I don't think that will be necessary, Naruto. He said. Naruto groaned. I hope so, I thought that our little episode a few days ago would make him try and be a little nicer. He doesn't even know how far he can reach if he just try and listen to us. Naruto said. Sasuke looked away, this time ignoring the entire conversation. They walked for a couple of hours before a puddle appeared in the middle of the road. Naruto knew what it meant at once, but he could see Kakashi eyeing it carefully. Naruto looked at Sakura, she had been terrified when Kakashi died, it made her completely frozen. Naruto hurried to her. "Sakura." He whispered into her ear. "Just trust me, Kakashi will be alright," Naruto said as he jumped back to his position. Sakura looked at him, a little puzzled, but not so soon afterwards two shades whipped past them. Kakashi was suddenly wrapped in chains and ripped to shred. "The first one," the two men said at the same time. Sakura let out a scream, Sasuke stared at Kakashi's remains with startled eyes, Tazuna fell backwards. The two men who had ripped Kakashi to shreds appeared behind Naruto, but Naruto knew that it was coming. He forced chakra to his fist and smashed it into one of the men's face and kicked the other in the stomach. Hard. Both of them flew in opposite sides of the road, one of them's head sitting in a very weird angle. The chain that connected them through the gauntlets had snapped by the force they were forced apart from. Naruto headed over to the unconscious form of the man he had kicked, he tied him to a tree. "Kakashi-sensei, you can come out now," Naruto said. Kakashi appeared in the middle of the road. Sakura gave out a relieved sigh. Sasuke was staring at the dead body of the man Naruto had punched. "Well, I'm glad you handled the situation, Naruto, we don't know who they were after," Kakashi said. Naruto shrugged. "That's why I left this one alive," he said and looked at the unconscious man. "He's dead?" Sakura asked as she stared on the other man. Naruto looked at her sadly. "Yeah, I'm sorry, Sakura. I didn't think of how you would feel about it," Naruto said. Sakura just stared at him with wide eyes. "Sakura, Sasuke. Killing is a requirement in our line of work. It's either kill or be killed when it comes to ninja. The thing that differ between a murderer and a ninja is that we aren't supposed to kill unnecessarily. We do not harm, for an example, civilians," Kakashi said. "What differs a good person and a horrible person is if they enjoy killing or not," Naruto said. "I would never enjoy taking a person's life, but leaving a missing nin from Mizu out here wouldn't be good," Naruto said. "Mizu?" Sakura asked. Naruto nodded. "These were the demon brothers of the mist, chunin level missing nin," Naruto explained. The man tied to the tree opened his eyes. "Look, sensei, now you can ask all you want," Naruto smiled. Kakashi headed over to the prisoner. "Who were you after?" Kakashi asked. The man stared at the dead body of his partner. "Like I would ever answer to you, leaf scum," he replied. Naruto shrugged. "He was after Tazuna. If they were after you, sensei, they would have left after they killed you. They didn't take with them your head, so they aren't bounty hunters. He clearly targeted us genins after killing you. Why would genins be anything to worry about? Witnesses are that they were between them and their target," Naruto said. "That doesn't explain why they were after Tazuna," Sasuke said, looking as arrogant as he could. "The reason why I believe that is Tazuna himself." The ninja turned to their client, who was sweating and glancing away. "Is there something you would like to tell us?" Naruto asked. Tazuna stared at him. "I don't know, that's bullshit," Naruto said. "Do you think our Hokage is a mindless fool? He knows something was off with this mission. That's why we're here. Kakashi-sensei is easily one of the best ninja in our village, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I also happen to know about the situation in Wave," Naruto said. "Situation?" Kakashi asked, now more intrigued by Naruto. "Beto, right. The richest man in the southern parts of the elemental nations that isn't a daimyo or another important dude. He gains his money from sabotaging other trading companies around Mizu, especially Wave, which has a good tactical placement," Naruto said. "How do you know?" Tazuna asked. Naruto grinned. "Because I'm just that awesome," he said. Tazuna sighed. "You're right. We don't have any money because of Gato, but to end his tyranny, I need to build my bridge. I came to Konoha for protection because Gato's men is after me," Tazuna explained. "Tazuna, if you had told the Hokage this, he would surely give you some sort of loan. You could have paid us back when you got more money. You have now put 3 new genin in potential danger if Gato sends higher ranking ninja after you. Sensei, don't worry. We're prepared for this," Naruto said. Kakashi looked at Sakura and Sasuke. Sasuke nodded, but Sakura was a little hesitant. "We've already come this far, right? Let's just go for it," Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. "Fine then, if it's okay for you too," Kakashi asked. Sakura nodded this time. "Then it's decided. We'll help you, Tazuna," Naruto chirped. Tazuna smiled weakly. "Thank you," he said. The group had finally reached Wave after traveling with a boat from the border of the Land of Fire over to the small islands that was Wave. Tazuna had talked about the situation on how Gato suddenly had appeared and taken over all shipping and traveling between Wave, Mizu and Hai no Kuni. They started on the last stretch before they arrived at Tazuna's house, where they would be staying during their time in Wave. On the road, Naruto was unusually jumpy, according to Kakashi that is. While Kakashi knew there was a chance that there would be other ninja, Naruto knew exactly who. While Naruto was confident in his abilities, he didn't want to be caught off guard. He created a shadow clone. "Go meditate," he told it. "Yes, boss," the clone said before he hurried into the forest. "What was that for, Naruto?" Kakashi asked. Naruto smiled. "Meditating helps chakra control. I guess I could use some practice to reel in this massive reserves," Naruto said. Kakashi looked at him. "Because of the belly monster?" he asked. Naruto chuckled. "Not really, nice name by the way, I'll remember that." Naruto's clone dispelled, giving him the perks of Sage Mode. He quickly sensed Zabuza a little up ahead. Haku wasn't far behind if he guessed the chakra signature right. They got closer and closer before Sasuke threw a kunai towards the place Zabuza had stood, but the ninja from Mist had easily used a replacement. A small white rabbit was behind the bushes where Sasuke's kunai had landed. "Don't scare us like that, you brat," Tazuna scolded. Sasuke stared at his environment. "Everyone, duck," Kakashi shouted as he threw himself at Tazuna. A large sword cleaved through the air and edged itself into a tree with a loud thump. Zabuza body flicker onto the sword, showing off like all other ninja Naruto knew. "The demon of the mist, Mamachi Zabuza," Kakashi said. "Who, so you know my name?" "Kakashi of the Sharingan," Zabuza said. Sasuke stared at Kakashi with wide eyes. The teacher pulled up his headband, showing the red spinning eye. "Oh? So I get that honor?" Zabuza asked. "Why do you have it?" "You're no Uchiha," Sasuke shouted. Naruto groaned. "Sasuke, this really isn't the time," Naruto said. Before Naruto even had finished the sentence, Kakashi and Zabuza and engaged in combat. They both fluently pulled off combos, dodges, counters and small jutsu into their battle. It was almost like watching art. Zabuza got a lucky punch in and sent Kakashi flying towards the water. Zabuza smirked. "Water prison jutsu," he said. Kakashi was enveloped in a bubble of water, with Zabuza holding one hand onto the sphere. Zabuza created a water clone. "Now to deal with the bridge builder," he said. The clone headed towards the genin. "Everyone. Run. This isn't some kind of enemy you can handle," Kakashi shouted. "No way, sensei," Naruto said. He sped towards the clone, punching towards the clone's face. The clone dodged, but he didn't notice Naruto's toad-like eyes. A force of chakra slammed into the clone, dispelling it into a puddle of water. Naruto used his momentum of surprise to whip out a paralysis seal and sped towards the real Zabuza. He slammed the tag onto the body as Zabuza refused to let go of Kakashi, also with the fact that he didn't have the time. Naruto used his speed and power to drag Zabuza with him so far that they were out of sight. "Zabuza," Naruto said. Zabuza looked at him with angry eyes. "What?" he growled out. "Whatever Gato is paying you, I can pay higher. I also wish to offer you a safe house for you and Haku," Naruto said. Zabuza's eyes widened. "How do you know about Haku?" he asked. Naruto smiled. "Hokage-sama isn't stupid. Now, join the Leaf. You'll be given work and a safe spot for you and your apprentice. Konoha loves bloodlines, Haku won't be hurt. I know the shit about you and wanting to kill people, but trust me. You will be able to kill people while a ninja of the Leaf, but you won't be hunted for it. Unless you do it too much, we don't deal well with murder," Naruto said. Zabuza stared at him with wide eyes. "You're mad to think Haku is my too low, shut up," Naruto interrupted. "We both know what you feel about him," Naruto said. "He's your adoptive son or something, right? You just don't want to admit it," Naruto said persistently. Zabuza-sama," a voice interrupted. Haku, the very feminine male appeared. He took out 3 senbon, preparing to throw them at Naruto. Naruto slammed a tag on the floor and a bubble appeared around the tree. "This is a barrier, Kakashi-sensei won't be able to find us. Zabuza, you join the Leaf or I kill you both right here, right now. You're paralyzed and Haku is no match for me. Your choice," Naruto said. He was losing patience and Kakashi was surely right around the corner. "Fine," Zabuza said. He had a small smile under the bandages. "I guess a brat who could beat me is worth listening to, at least a little. What's your name, brat?" Naruto grinned. "Naruto Uzumaki." Zabuza's eyes widened. "Uzumaki? I thought that clan was wiped out, where the hell is your sword?" Zabuza asked. Naruto looked at him, puzzled. "Sword?" Naruto asked. "You don't have a sword. But the Uzumaki was some of the best swordsmen ever before they were wiped out. In Mizu it's so much talk, after all, Yuzu was our neighborhooding country. Sheesh, you need to use a sword, kid," Zabuza said, his voice still sounding angry, but you could hear the excitement behind it. "I'll teach you," Zabuza decided. "When do we go to Konoha?" Zabuza asked. Naruto gave him a note he had written earlier. Go under disguise, no henge. Deliver this note to the Hokage. Go directly to Konoha, do not meet my sensei. Naruto said. Zabuza and Haku nodded. Naruto dispelled the seal on Zabuza and dispelled the barrier. Hurry. He told them. They sped off. Moments later Kakashi appeared, his eyes were wide and he was panting heavily. Naruto? He exclaimed. He immediately got by Naruto's side. Where is Zabuza? Kakashi asked, looking around. Don't worry, sensei, we got it under control. Naruto said. We? Kakashi asked. Naruto smiled. Me and the Hokage. We should go back to the others. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded and they headed back. Sakura was visibly worried, Sasuke was just staring at Naruto, his eyes dark. Tazuna was on the ground, looking like he would faint at any moment. It's okay guys. Zabuza's gone. Kakashi said. Sakura and Tazuna sighed in relief. Sasuke, however, wasn't pleased. That's it. Where is he? What happened? Sasuke asked angrily. Naruto grinned. I took care of it, Zabuza won't bother us anymore. Naruto said. Sasuke stared at him. You? He said. Naruto nodded. Sasuke was about to say something before Kakashi suddenly fell down, his body shaking. Naruto's eyes widened. He knew Kakashi would faint, but this hadn't happened before. What happened while I was gone? He shouted to the others. Kakashi-sensei went looking for you, he sped after you as soon as he caught his breath. Sakura said hurriedly. Shit. Tazuna, your house. Naruto said. Tazuna looked at him with determination. Follow me. Tazuna said. They hurried towards Tazuna's house. They were greeted by his daughter Tsunami when they got closer, but she hurried them inside when she saw how Naruto and Sasuke was struggling on carrying their sensei, who was still shaking. They put Kakashi in one of the guest rooms, laying him on one of the futons. Naruto stared at his sensei in silence. He swore loudly. Language? Tsunami said as she placed a wet cloth on Kakashi's forehead. They had to hold it in place so he wouldn't shake it off, but it didn't seem to help much. Sakura was sitting beside Naruto, looking at Kakashi with worried eyes, while Sasuke was keeping watch over the house, still sure that any ninja could come. Tsunami-san. Naruto said. We've traveled a long way, if you wouldn't mind could you make some dinner? I have some cooking supplies, but I'm not really good at the kitchen. Naruto said. Tsunami nodded slowly. Naruto unsealed the scroll with the foodie bro with him. He took out the one with several snacks in, which in reality was mainly carrots, potatoes, some frozen meat and the alike. Really, it wasn't much more to say than snacks. This should be enough. Naruto said. Tsunami nodded. Sakura-chan? She asked softly. Would you like to help me? She said. Sakura nodded with a small smile. She glanced at Kakashi. Don't worry, Sakura, I'll watch over him. Naruto said. Sakura nodded. It didn't take long before dinner was ready and Naruto was forced out of his sensei's room to eat. Tsunami, Tazuna, Sasuke, Sakura and Tsunami's son Inari was seated at the table when Naruto entered, all portioning out a stew Tsunami had created from her own and Naruto's supplies. How is he? Sakura asked. Naruto looked at his food emptily. He's stable. He stopped shaking and it doesn't seem like there is anything physically wrong with him. It's not even chakra exhaustion. Well, it could be partly, but he would be awake by now then. Right now, the shaking and his current coma is way out of my knowledge. Naruto said. Sakura looked at the floor. I see. What will we do now? She asked. Sasuke answered this time. We continue the mission, we can't drag Kakashi back to Konoha and it's safer here. We also can't leave this country to die. Sasuke said. Naruto smiled. That's a good reply, Sasuke. He said. Sasuke scoffed. I'm not always angry. He said. Naruto laughed. That's good then. I guess I can give you a cool fire jutsu to work on then. Naruto said. Sasuke looked at him strangely. You know fire jutsu? He asked. Naruto nodded. Fire release. Fire dragon bullet. A B-rank offensive jutsu. I learned it a while back. I figured out that if someone does attack us, you should know a little bit more jutsu than the great fireball in the Academy 3. Sasuke nodded. Sakura, I brought with me some earth jutsu scrolls I borrowed from the ninja library, you can study them. I can't help you there, I have no aptitude for earth jutsu. Naruto said as he handed Sakura a scroll over the table. Why do you try so hard? Inari asked. Naruto looked at him sadly. Because we have to protect your grandpa. He said. Inari shook his head. This is none of your business. Why do you care? You're all gonna die anyway. No one can beat Gato, heroes don't exist. Inari shouted. Naruto slammed his hand on the table. My father was a hero. He said. He sacrificed himself for the good of the village, that is a hero. A selfless sacrifice, no matter what. I'll get that Gato out of your land, but you should know that your grandpa is a hero too. Naruto said. Inari looked at him angrily. What do you know? You are just ninja pretending you can do anything. You don't know anything about us, you don't know suffering. Inari shouted. Naruto looked at him. How are you supposed to know? Naruto asked. What? Inari said. I said, how are you supposed to know if we don't know suffering? You see Sasuke there? He has no family because he watched them all get killed. Sakura there? She was bullied when she was younger and been told she wasn't good enough. Kakashi-sensei. His father killed himself because he chose to save his friends rather than continuing a mission. Naruto said. What? Your land is suffering. People die, but you're just shitting on everything your grandpa is trying to do like this. Naruto said. Tears welled up in Inari's eyes. I hate you. He shouted before running off. Naruto sighed. I'm sorry Tsunami. I didn't mean to blow up like that. Naruto said. Also, I'm sorry, Sasuke, Sakura. I shouldn't have brought up your stories. Naruto apologized. Sakura smiled softly. It's okay. I'm over that now. She said. They looked at Sasuke, who was staring at the place Inari had been sitting. For some reason Sasuke started. I saw myself in that kid. He said. Naruto looked at him strangely. What? Sasuke, you're not like that. You try to do something with your family's death and while I disapprove of it, you're not just giving everything up. Naruto said. Sasuke looked at him. I guess, but I thought about what you said. Do you think that Itachi might have had another reason to kill them? He asked. Naruto nodded. Sasuke looked at him. Why? He asked. Naruto shrugged. I guess, if Itachi managed to kill all of the Uchiha and escape the village, he wouldn't have made it unscathed. There should be tracks, but he just disappeared. Also, the Uchiha didn't look like they had fought back, especially not your parents. Even though Itachi was an excellent ninja, he wouldn't be able to sneak up on everyone just like that. Naruto said. How do you know this? Sasuke asked. Naruto grinned. I've snuck into the Hokage library when I was younger, saw stuff I wasn't supposed to, the third made me promise not to tell anyone, but I guess you should know. Remember that this isn't the entire truth. I don't trust you enough for that. Naruto said. Sasuke glared at him slightly. You know something about my family, but you won't tell me. He said. Naruto nodded as he ate his food. I guess I just need to find out by myself then. Sasuke said as he continued with his stew. Sakura smiled slightly at the two, they were connecting. Where am I? A voice asked loudly. Suddenly it was a small racket inside the room Kakashi was lying. Sensei. The three genin said out loud. Naruto was the quickest onto his feet. He held out a hand to Sasuke and Sakura. Wait here, if it's an attacker, you must protect Izuna and Tsunami. Sakura, I want you to check on Inari. Naruto said. The two nodded, knowing that this wasn't a time to argue. Naruto opened the door to Kakashi's room carefully, seeing his sensei looking around him carefully, a kunai in his hand. Sensei? Naruto asked as he closed the door behind him. Kakashi turned to him and his eyes widened. Naruto. This doesn't make sense. Is this a genjutsu? Kakashi said out loud. Naruto shook his head. Sensei, after Zabuza came you passed out, shaking violently. Are you okay? Naruto asked. This doesn't make any sense. This can't be a prank either, everyone knows that Naruto died a week ago. Naruto stopped dead in his tracks. Kakashi-sensei. He said. His mood suddenly taking a turn around. He looked at him with hard eyes. Tell me, how many Hokage has there been? Naruto asked. Kakashi stared at him. 7. He said slowly. Tears welled up in Naruto's eyes. I thought I'd be alone. Naruto shook his head. I'm going to explain everything, but first of all, welcome to the past. Tell me your opinion on Kakashi's return. Naruto let some of the tears fall as he stared at his sensei who was obviously confused. Naruto chuckled. You should sit down, but I need to give Sakura and Sasuke the okay. Kakashi's eyes widened. They're here too? He asked. Naruto shook his head. Not the ones from our future, the older actually, they started out as the two you took on as your students. These have trained. The Genin exam was around a week ago, that's when I came back here. Naruto explained. So, you're saying that we've time traveled? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. I'll explain everything sensei, I just have to give them the all clear. Naruto said, using a little bit of his authority voice. Kakashi nodded affirmatively. Naruto headed back out to the others, Inari had also been collected and they were looking at him with anticipation. Kakashi's okay, there is no attack. Naruto said first. The others sighed in relief. But I need to talk to him in private a little bit, I don't want any of you listening in. Naruto said. But Sakura started, but Naruto looked her directly in the eye. I'll be done soon, but this is important and is regarded an S-class secret. I will have to kill you if you listen. Naruto said. Sakura looked frozen in place. You won't, right? She asked. This is a law the third Hokage put in place, I am not allowed to question it. Naruto explained. Sakura nodded hesitantly, but Sasuke grabbed her shoulder. We'll give you 10 minutes. He said. Naruto nodded and looked at the family behind them. I'm sorry for worrying you. He said as he went back inside to his sensei. Naruto whipped out a barrier tag and put it on the door. There, privacy. Naruto said. So Naruto, you're really the one I know, the seventh? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. I'll start from the beginning, starting with the day I died. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded, his eyes showed regret. I'm sorry I wasn't there that day. He said. Naruto shook his head. It was my fault, but I didn't actually die. Me and Kurama, we went back in time, or at least I did. Naruto said. We did a jutsu, made me pass out before I woke up in my apartment. Naruto explained. Kakashi looked at him, slightly amused. I was freaked out at first, but I soon got my bearings. Some stuff happened before I went to the third and explained everything, so he is aware that I made it to Hokage, but he doesn't know any details. Naruto said. Do keep him from trying to avoid something he shouldn't? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. Something like that. He grinned. Anyway, I requested being put on your team with Sakura and Sasuke, we passed the bell test. Don't you remember anything from this timeline? Naruto asked. Kakashi shook his head. No, everything is blank right now. Even the first hours before I got here. He explained. Naruto chuckled. I see, anyway. We did some D ranks, but I made you train us instead. Well, you were onto me since I was acting really strange, I had to explain to you that the situation was under control, not that it helped. Naruto said. Kakashi smiled behind his mask. Anyway, you taught Sasuke and Sakura the tree climbing exercise, but Sakura caught on quickly. She then went with me and you stayed with Sasuke. Me and Sasuke have fought a lot and they are aware of the Uzumaki clan, but not my parents. Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. So, I helped Sakura with the water walking, she really was amazing. She caught on so quickly that I introduced her to some other stuff she could train on, like elemental ninjutsu, the chakra enhancement, medical jutsu. Not that I made her do all at it at once, we worked on her chakra capacity first. Naruto said quickly. Kakashi nodded once again, showing that he understood. Anyways, I had warned the third that Tazuna would arrive and made sure we would get this mission. Sasuke also caught up with the water walking after a while, they really have progresses. Just earlier I gave them both a jutsu to work on while we're here. Naruto said. We're in wave now? Kakashi asked suddenly. What happened with Zabuza? He asked. Naruto grinned. He's on his way to Konoha to become a leaf shinobi. Naruto said proudly. Kakashi's eyes widened. What? How did you never mind, it's you. What are you planning? Kakashi asked. Naruto smiled once again. I'm gaining allies for the war. Haku and Zabuza were the first, by the way, I think we should go handle Geto by ourselves. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. Sasuke knows something is off about the massacre, I've told him bits, but not the entire truth, but I am allowed to. If Sasuke goes rogue, he is my responsibility to deal with, but I'm not really sure what to do yet. Naruto explained. He's warming up to me a little though, he got all soft at dinner after Inari's outburst. Naruto chuckled. Kakashi joined him, not seeing how his student could actually go soft. So, basically. We're staying here to guard Tazuna and his family until the bridge is completed. We'll deal with Geto around this time. We'll gain an alliance with Wave due to our help and then continue to make sure Sasuke doesn't go all crazy. Naruto said quickly. What about the Chunin exam? Kakashi asked, knowing that there would be an invasion. Naruto looked down glumly. Not sure yet, I have to deal with Gaara, but I can't let the third die. I could always deal with Gaara during the Forest of Death, but then there's Orochimaru. Sasuke really can't get the curse mark, that's what made him batshit crazy in the first place. Naruto said. I see, I think we've kept the others waiting. How should I act? Kakashi asked jokingly. Naruto shrugged. Tired and do not seem surprised by the behavior of any of them. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. I'll try. He smiled. Naruto then hugged him real quick, but he let go as quickly as he came. It's good to have you back, sensei, I really thought I would be on my own. Naruto muttered. Kakashi ruffled Naruto's hair. I'd never leave a comrade behind. He said. The two grinned at each other. Well then, Rakudame-sama, let's meet with our team. Naruto said as he bowed dramatically. After you, Nanadame-sama. Kakashi replied as he ripped off the barrier tag. The two opened the door to find Tazuna and Tsunami cleaning up after dinner. Inari had disappeared to somewhere and Sasuke and Sakura stared at them impatiently. Are you okay, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Kakashi smiled. Yes, thank you Sakura, Sasuke. You did good handling the situation. Kakashi said. Naruto grinned at the two. Yeah, I couldn't have done it without them. He said proudly. Kakashi smiled. Anyway, Sakura, Sasuke. We're going to take shifts in guarding this house. I want the two of you to take this afternoon shift, basically just have a lookout outside in the area. Please train if you want to. Me and Naruto will do it at night. Kakashi said. Ajena nodded and Sakura found her bag before leaving outside. Sasuke took a glance at Naruto. Naruto. He said. He looked slightly to the side. Would you help me with that fire jutsu? He asked. It sounded like he wanted to demand it, but he knew that it wouldn't work with Naruto. Naruto grinned. Sure. He said. The two boys headed out the door, leaving Kakashi to his thoughts. I guess I should read something then. He said as he settled himself in a chair. Hours passed and night soon fell over wave. Sasuke had passed out and Naruto had to drag him back to Tezuna's house. Sensei. Your student. Naruto shouted as he entered the door. Kakashi came out from the guest room, taking quick glances from Sasuke to Naruto. Sakura. Kakashi called. Sakura came down the stairs. Yes, sensei. She asked. She took a quick look at Sasuke but decided not to comment. At Sasuke to bed, me and Naruto need to go on patrol. Kakashi said. Sakura nodded affirmatively and brought Sasuke from Naruto's shoulder over to her, she was actually strong enough to support his weight. Naruto nodded at Kakashi before the two left out into the night. Naruto created two clones, one of them transforming into Kakashi as they walked around the area close to the house. The originals hurried into the forest. I checked for Gato's hideout while I was helping Sasuke, it's a few hours north of here. Naruto said as he jumped up into the trees. Kakashi followed suit. I see, what's your approach? He asked. Naruto grinned. I was thinking a couple of thousand clones, raiding the entire place. Naruto suggested. Kakashi shook his head. That's like you. Don't want to go subtle. Kakashi asked. Naruto grinned. Not really, I want to let out some steam. He said. Kakashi shrugged. Do as you please, I'm not exactly your superior anymore. He said. Well, actually no. Kakashi interrupted. Well, you might look like a 12-year-old, I've still known you more than 20 years. Well, I took back the hat after you passed, it still feels like you're the Hokage. Kakashi said. Naruto looked at him. Thank you, sensei. He said. Kakashi smiled. Don't worry about it. He replied. The two hurried up the pace, getting them to Gato's hideout after an hour or so. They stood on some treetops, looking over the building. It's guarded. Heavily. Kakashi said, his Sharingan active. Not heavily enough. Naruto grinned as he crossed his fingers. A large cloud appeared that covered the most surrounding area. The sheer number of Naruto's clones painted the forest in an orange-like shade. Go get 'em. Naruto said as the clones roared as they ran towards the hideout. In wartime, Naruto would have killed them all, but this was different. There were missing nins, yes, bounty hunters, murderers and the alike. Though they didn't all deserve to die. It didn't take long before the camp was emptied out, leaving Gato in the plaza who was held down by two clones. The original Naruto and Kakashi appeared in front of him. Gato. Naruto said. The man was shaking in fear. Your soldiers are gone, your money taken. Your name was never clean. You have no property anymore. You have nothing. Naruto continued. The only thing you could call your own is your life, but that belongs to me now. Naruto smirked. Kakashi stood still at the side. You've corrupted several shipping companies, made towns starve, killed innocent people. I believe this justifies my judgment. Naruto muttered. He waved a clone over. Deal with him. He said. He looked at Kakashi. I don't want to be here. He muttered as he used the body flicker out of the area. Kakashi followed suit. The next morning arrived faster than Naruto wanted. The death of Gato trailing him for every step he took. It was justified that the man should die, he had in the previous timeline, but Naruto never felt so wrong in taking someone's life, even if it was Gato. Kakashi looked at him. Naruto, you've said so yourself. Killing is necessary at times, it doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. Gato deserved to die, you did nothing wrong. Kakashi said. Naruto looked at him. I know, I killed one of the demon brothers at the way here, but it felt so different. Killing someone in battle is one thing, but executing someone. I didn't know it would feel this way. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. He patted Naruto on the shoulder. Azuna is going to the bridge today, I would like you to go with him. Make some clones to hurry up the building process, I really don't want to stay here for an entire week. Kakashi muttered as he looked around. Gato's money? Kakashi asked. My clones are gathering it as we speak, they're going to deliver it today. Naruto said as he looked out at the sea. Kakashi nodded. You've done good, Hokage-sama. Kakashi joked. Naruto laughed bitterly. Sensei, could I really call myself Hokage now? Naruto asked. Kakashi took a hold of his shoulder. Naruto, you're Hokage in more than words. You'll get that hat back sooner than ever, but I suggest that this time, you allow yourself to use some clones," Kakashi said. Naruto's eyes widened as he looked at him. "But you said," Naruto started, but Kakashi interrupted him. "I know that I said that you shouldn't have clones sit at your desk, but after seeing how you exhausted yourself, I should never have made you do that," Kakashi said. "All Hokage took free time, I read my porn, the third does his calligraphy, Tsunade drank, Minato-sensei spent time at home. You took your job over the limits, you've got an amazing ability with those clones, you could probably solve many of Konoha's problems if you use them. I want you to do just that when you take the hat," Kakashi said. Naruto smiled. "I see, thank you sensei," Naruto said. "You should really stop thanking me Naruto, you're the one who saved the world," Kakashi said. Naruto blushed. "I couldn't have done it without everyone," Naruto muttered. Kakashi smiled. "But the Naruto I knew from when he was a genin would recklessly run ahead, even the Naruto who came back from Jiraiya's training trip was rash. Well, you didn't lose that during the war, you let others help you carry that burden. No, you didn't save the world alone, but you did help save the world and played a major part in it," Kakashi said. "Minato-sensei and Kushina would be proud," Kakashi finished. Naruto smiled. "I know that, they've said that to me before. That they would always be proud," Naruto said. He grabbed the clothing that covered his seal. "I wonder if they're still in my seal," Naruto muttered. Kakashi looked out at the sea in front of them. "Who knows, but I guess you need the summoning contract and key for the seal from Jiraiya," Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. "A third sent word from him, he should be there before the Chunin exam. I want him to help Jiji battle Orochimaru. If the two of them are together, I might be able to deal with Gaara without having them in the back of my mind. Now that you're here too, we can minimize the casualties," Naruto said. "You're right," Kakashi said. "But for now, let's get the bridge done," Kakashi said. Naruto nodded. Tazuna came out to them from behind. "I didn't want to listen in or anything, but you'll help me with the bridge?" Tazuna asked. "I can get you another 1,000 workers, if that would help." Naruto smiled. Tazuna grinned back, giving him a hurtful laugh. "You have no idea." It had been 3 days since Naruto and Kakashi ended Gato's reign over the Wave Country. Kakashi had been filled in with everything Naruto could come up with, so he didn't act strange around Sasuke and Sakura. Kakashi then continued to teach his other 2 students in more depth as Naruto helped Tazuna with the bridge. Naruto still hadn't heard from Kurama. Just what in the world was he doing in that seal? In the previous timeline, Naruto had drawn on the Kyuubi's chakra during his and Sasuke's battle with Haku, but he couldn't draw out anything now. Naruto watched over his clones working, he helped of course, but Tazuna didn't want him to strain himself. Naruto hadn't disagreed. While he had always spammed clones here and there, keeping it up for several hours while working himself did make him slightly tired. He also had clones reading up on more advanced Fuinjutsu, intent on keeping up his Uzumaki legacy. A shout from Tazuna shook him out of his thoughts. "It's done," he exclaimed as the clones dispelled one by one. "The bridge is complete," he said as he came up to Naruto. Naruto grinned at him. "Finally," he said as he jumped down from the railing he had sat on for the last minutes. "You should tell the villagers, I'll report to Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said as he ran towards Team 7's current training spot. "Will do," Tazuna shouted after him. It didn't take Naruto long to arrive, Kakashi noticing his presence way before Sasuke and Sakura did. "Sensei, the bridge is done," Naruto said as he walked up to them. Kakashi nodded in approval. "You've done well. Sasuke, Sakura. Start gathering your things, it's still early so I want us to leave soon. If we hurry, we can get back to Konoha before nightfall," Kakashi said. Sasuke and Sakura nodded and went towards Tsunami and her family's house. "So, Naruto, what's the plan?" Kakashi asked. Naruto shrugged. "If Hiro Sennin has come to town, I'll probably spend time with him. I'm also going to plan ahead with the third about the invasion. I also want to fill him in on your situation," Naruto said. "I've got no idea what to do about Orochimaru and the invasion itself though. I'd like to avoid the third's death, but it was necessary for Tsunade's return. If I could get her back with the proposal of the medical ninja corps training, then perhaps. Either way, we have to get Tsunade back." Kakashi nodded in agreement. "Naruto, there is something I have to tell you," he said. Naruto looked up at his teacher. "I remember what happened," Kakashi continued. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Remember?" he asked. "The travel," Kakashi said. Naruto's eyes widened before they gained a serious look. "Tell me." Flashback. Kakashi stared at the coffin before him. There was flowers scattered around the white wood with a framed picture standing on top of it. He had failed his student. He saw Hinata, Boruto and Himawari standing closest to it. Boruto had a blank look across his face. Himawari had tears running down her face while Hinata held them both close. He couldn't understand how this happened. How in the world had Naruto, gotten himself killed? He looked at Boruto. The boy's face told him that something had happened. Something that was haunting him. Kakashi sighed as people started to leave. Many of them still weeping about their newly crowned Hokage, who had dreamed to be the leader of this village for so long, but his reign was cut short. Kakashi walked away from the ceremony, leaving Hinata and her remaining family alone by the coffin. They needed to be there alone. He headed to the Hokage's office, his office, which he had taken over again after Naruto's death. They didn't want to elect another Hokage so soon, so Kakashi took temporarily control. It hadn't been more than a week since Naruto's death after all. The ceremony had been put back as the entire ninja part of the village was scouting out for the attackers, but they hadn't been found. Konohamaru was probably going to be the successor. Naruto would have wanted that, and Konohamaru was really starting to look fit for the position. He only needed more experience. Which was why he was currently being a Jonin sensei for Boruto's team. Kakashi stared at the pile of paperwork stacked in the office. Naruto had neatly organized them all with Shikamaru's help, but he hadn't gotten far with it. He sighed. He was getting too old for this kind of work. Sasuke had also been an option for Hokage, but he liked his new position better. He was like a Kage, but more like a Kagekage, a shadow of the Hokage. Literally, the Kage was the 5 great nations' shadow, the lords being the ones to rule the country, but everyone knew the Kage was really the ones in control. Sasuke, however, he was like Naruto's left hand, despite the fact that Sasuke didn't have one. He worked in the shadows, taking care of threats and stuff, almost like Jiraiya. Kakashi smiled. Sasuke wasn't hell-bent on revenge, but he had yet to hear about Naruto's passing. Kakashi sighed once more, that would be a pain. The six sat down in his chair, looking at the wall with pictures of all the Hokages. Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Namikaze Minato, Senju Tsunade, Hada Kakashi, Uzumaki Naruto. All of them lined next to each other. Kakashi's eyes widened as a white light appeared in the center of the room. A gruff voice sounded through the light. Die here meant for your losing chakra now. Kakashi looked at the light analytically. He couldn't hear all the words, it was what he could gather out. The rest was mumbling. A sudden pain burned through his chakra network. His reserves depleting at a fast rate. No, Kakashi choked out as he tried to get out of his chair. Well, he did, but he fell face first to the ground. He passed out. Kakashi woke up with a start, he was in an unfamiliar room. He had a cloth across his forehead and was laying on a futon. His body felt like it was on fire, but he still felt strangely more energetic. Where am I? Kakashi said loudly. He stood up quickly to try and get his surroundings better, but he stumbled and shoved a stack of different items to the floor. Sensei? A voice asked from behind him. Kakashi turned to look at familiar blonde spiky hair, blue eyes and whiskered face. Naruto. This doesn't make any sense. Is this a genjutsu? He asked loudly. The Naruto he was looking at was young, he looked like the 12-year-old kid he took on as a student, but Naruto was dead. The boy shook his head. Sensei, after Zabuza came you passed out, shaking violently. Are you okay? He asked. Kakashi looked at him. Zabuza? He had died 20 years ago. This does not make any sense. This can't be a prank either, everyone knows Naruto died a week ago. Kakashi said. He looked as the boy froze. Kakashi got slightly startled by the change. Kakashi-sensei. The Naruto lookalike said. The blonde looked at him with hard eyes. The so familiar eyes. The ones his teacher had, the ones his student had. Tell me, how many Hokage has there been? He asked. Kakashi looked at him strangely. Was this supposed to be some bad joke? 7. He replied slowly. The boy suddenly had tears in his eyes. He looked so vulnerable. Kakashi hadn't seen his student like that since the war. I thought I'd be alone, he said. Kakashi looked at him, slight sadness hinting on his face. The blonde shook his head. I'm going to explain everything, but first of all, welcome to the past. The kid said. Flashback end. That really doesn't explain much. Naruto admitted as the story reached its end. White light. The voice. It doesn't make any sense. I traveled back with Kurama's help. Though I am unsure how. It was some kind of jutsu. He continued. Kakashi nodded. I'm not sure either, it's all still a little blurry. Kakashi said. Whatever happened to you anyway? How did you end up dying? Naruto looked at the ground. I was careless. Boruto had ran off after another argument. There were some bandits in the forest. I easily got them, but Boruto was still angry. He was yelling and I ended up saying something that hurt him. Bad. The look on his face, I hated it. Naruto stared at the floor, his face carried so much emotion. It brought me so much pain, sensei. The look of hurt that spread across his face. I was so shocked I didn't notice Boruto's warning before it was too late. I had been careless and a hidden bandit, probably with ninja training, he managed to create this large hole through my chest. I got Naruto to run and get someone. Hinata and Sakura came afterwards. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded. I figured it had to do something with him. Kakashi said. He looked so haunted at your funeral. His face was blank, lacking emotion. Kakashi sighed. Hinata got the situation under control right after your death, but the pain of losing you was so great that I got reinstated. Kakashi said. Naruto nodded. I see. I asked her to take care of the village until another Hokage could take over. He said. Konohamaru would probably be the next, though he was supposed to gain more experience as a Jonin sensei first. I don't know what they'll do now that I'm here too. Kakashi said. Naruto chuckled. They'll figure it out. The will of fire passes through all of them, after all. Naruto mumbled. Kakashi smiled at this. Spoken like a true Hokage, who knows, perhaps you'll be the fifth this time. Kakashi said. Naruto laughed a bitter laugh at that. The villagers won't accept me, sensei. A pang of guilt spread through Kakashi. He had forgotten how Naruto had been treated in that moment. They will. Kakashi said. He put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. We both know they will, you'll shine even brighter during this chunin exam, you'll probably get promoted too. I bet the invasion will be easily handled with you there. Kakashi said. Naruto then laughed. Also, take in the fact that my heritage will be revealed at the exam. I'm going to move into mom and dad's house afterwards. Naruto smirked. Kakashi chuckled at that. I guess the council will wet their pants on the thought that they tried to get the fourth son locked down and turned into a weapon. Kakashi said. Naruto chuckled at that. Yeah, I even found the paperwork for it when I went through the files. He admitted. Kakashi hummed. We should go pack, we got to leave soon. He said. Naruto nodded. The previous, or future, Hokages headed back to Tezuna's house. Sakura looked at them strangely. You took long. She said. Kakashi waved his hand. Ah, we just had to talk about some training stuff. He said. Sakura raised an eyebrow at that but decided not to question it. Naruto headed inside to find his larger scroll, which he strapped on his lower back. He headed back out to Kakashi and Sakura. I'm ready. He said. Kakashi nodded. Sasuke's over at the bridge with the villagers, he was worried something might happen. Naruto's eyes widened. Sasuke. Worried? He asked. Kakashi smiled. Doesn't matter, let's go to the bridge. The three headed towards the gathering of people. Sasuke stood in the far back, looking over everyone. Yo, Sasuke. Naruto said. Sasuke looked at the three. So you're finally ready to go. He said as they met up. Naruto Naichin. Inari's voice sounded. Are you leaving? He asked sadly. Naruto smiled at him. We got to go back home you know. He replied. Inari looked at the ground. I see. He said. Naruto ruffled his hair. It's time for you to be Wave's hero now, be an image. Naruto said. Inari smiled confidently. Yeah. He exclaimed. Izuna and Tsunami came up to them. Naruto, Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke. You've done so much for our country. This bridge, it's the proof of our trust in Konoha. We're going to work out an alliance. The daimyo will see that through. Tizuna said. Naruto grinned. Sakura smiled slightly while Sasuke smirked. Kakashi shook Tizuna's hand. I'll make sure to tell Hokage-sama of your intentions. He'll be prepared. Kakashi said. Tizuna nodded. Much obliged. He replied. Okay guys, we have to set out. We've got lots of training to do in the next few days. Kakashi said as he started walking. Yes, sensei. The three genin replied as they followed. What if Naruto has Hokage level chakra and chunin exams, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.